In this HeroClix set review, we're going to take a look at the commons, uncommons, and rares of Marvel HeroClix X-Men 10 of Swords, coming up on Coffee and Clix. Hi, I'm Tealish, and you're watching Coffee and Clix. Today, we're going to be doing a set review for Marvel HeroClix X-Men X of Swords. So stay tuned, and we're going to be using a special grading scale that we use for all of our set reviews on Coffee and Clix. The grading scale is as follows. The triple espresso are the top tier figures, the competitive figures. Double espresso would be not as top tier, but still impressive, still like a second tier figure. Single espresso is a not really impressive figure, and herbal tea is the figure that puts you to sleep. It's just we don't care for it. Not saying anything about herbal tea drinkers. Like, I don't discriminate, but that's just for our purposes of this set review. So you have a 3, 2, 1, or a 0 grading scale, triple espresso, double espresso, single espresso, and herbal tea. For each figure, we will also be looking at it from the perspective of how it will fare in the competitive scene, and also how it will fare in sealed play. So just those two perspectives. Okay, and today we're joined by Brian Galley and Kennie Pena. Thank you for coming on the show.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us on.
So let's jump right in, and here we go with the commons. Let's take a look at the first common, which is X-Men X of Swords, set number 001, Storm. Storm is 45 points. She comes with an optional trait for 5 points, a sword bearer. This character starts the game with any sword equipment equipped. She's got 5 range with a single target, 8 speed with stealth, 10 attack, 17 defense with combat reflexes, 3 damage with perplex. She's got the Deity, Marauders, Quiet Council, Ruler, Wakanda, and X-Men keywords. She has the trait, Gale Force Winds. Knockback, Force Blast as free. When Storm uses it, she may choose the direction of the knockback. So, Brian, what do you think about Storm?
Well, for constructed, not terribly much. I give her maybe a single shot just because of X-Men swap out teams, maybe using her for a sword bearer trait. Sealed, though, she's somewhere in the double to triple shot range. That Gale Force Winds trait is phenomenal for placement. She's cheap, she's got a stealth, taxi, perplex. She can really make a sealed team gel together.
Sure, yeah, I mean, I think I agree with you. Kenny, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to say all the sword bearers are probably at minimum a 2-star for what Brian said when it comes to constructed, just because of the ability to swap them out with swap tech and drop in their equipment. And, you know, if she deserves a 3, I think we'll mention that. I don't think she does, even though she is great. However, I do think she will cause some headaches in Seal. This is a wonderful 001 figure to kick off the set. You got decent values, you got perplex, ability to equip a sword. I would say she is a double. I think she's a double shot both ways, at least, at very minimum, possibly even more. But you pull her in Sealed, that's a great start.
I agree with both of you. I think with the perplex and with the flying, she can carry around people, and then also that force blast that she can reposition other characters. She definitely gets I would say a 2 for me in sealed and a 1 in competitive. So let's take a look at the next figure, which is Cypher.
Real quick, it's worth noting all those 19 defense you'd be seeing nowadays. She's a fantastic way to get around that.
Just free action, yoink them towards you. There's
Yes.
no longer a reason to defend, and
Yes, you can force blast them directly towards you too, because you choose the direction of the knockback. So that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Wanda's and Agatha's making runes. She might not knock them off the first try, but she could definitely mess up positioning.
oh yeah.
Let's look at Cypher, who's set number 002. He's 25 points. He has 3 range with a single target, 8 speed, 10 attack, 17 defense with toughness, and 2 damage with empower and enhancement as a special power. He also comes with the sword bearer trait, so you could pay an extra 5 points to have him equipped with a sword. Kenny, what do you think about Cypher?
So, again, because all sword bearers, he's probably at least a 2-star. He's not really bringing that much if you actually put him on the map. Don't get me wrong, empower and enhancement is great. But for 25 points, it's got to be really committed to what you're doing. As far as sealed is concerned, I do still think he's a double espresso. Any way you get cheap modification, never a bad thing. A lot of X-Men TAs in this set, so having a cheap guy to be able to execute that and heal. And listen, if I don't care how many points you cost, if you find a sword in your hand and you can deal 5 or 6 damage, that's well worth your points already. So I think he's a double espresso both ways for constructed because of the swap and for sealed.
Brian?
Just like with Storm, same vein as Kenny, I'd give him the single shot espresso for constructed just for the swap out, and double shot for sealed because this is cheap support that makes your team, run good.
Yeah, I would give him maybe a single in competitive and a double in sealed. Maybe a double in competitive because of the swap out, for sure. Mm-hmm. Okay, and so let's take a look at set number 3, which is Solemn. I think I'm pronouncing his name right, Solemn.
Yep.
Sounds right.
He is either 85 or 45 points. He does come with the sword bearer trait for an extra +5. He has a trait, Solemn can reduce penetrating damage. He has charge, precision strike, invulnerability, 10 speed, 11 attack, 18 defense, 4 damage, 3 range with a single target. Brian, what do you think about Solemn?
Well, we've hit our first sword bearer that doesn't interact with swap tech. So as far as constructed goes, this is going to be Herbal Tea. No one's going to be running him. Sealed, I'll give him 1 shot. Not the figure I'm hoping to see, but he is a decent brick. He can deal out some damage.
Kenny?
I'm gonna correct Brian here because the Prize Apocalypse can make Orca a part of X-Men. Technically,
fair enough.
However, I agree with you. He's probably not the one you're doing it with. So,
Yeah.
I think I like him, but for competitive, he's probably Herbal Tea in the constructed field. For sealed, most likely he's going to be a single espresso shot at best if you don't pull a good brick or anyone with longevity, if you're unlucky with your pulls and you don't have any life to it. But he's very close to Herbal Tea also in sealed, even though it's a really great trait where you can reduce penetrating damage. That's a very annoying thing, but I don't know if it's enough with all these low-costed X-Men that are running around, especially in sealed.
Yeah, I think I agree because Solemn, he's 85, possibly 90 points, but there's a lot of stuff that we haven't seen yet as we're going to look through the set that you could pay 90 points and get something better with him.
Yeah.
I mean, for sealed, So let's take a look at set number 4, which is the Fury. The Fury is pretty vanilla. He's got 50 points, 5 range with a single target, 10 speed with running shot, 10 attack with Pensai, 17 defense with invulnerable, and 3 damage. And he has the robot keyword, and that's it. So what do we think about him? Kenny, what do you think?
So he is most likely an Herbal Tea for constructed. Not to say that he's just a bad figure, just you see the current trends, you see what's going on. It's really hard to justify including him in some way, some fashion. But let's focus on sealed, where I think he is probably double espresso. He might be triple espresso. Anytime you get cheap penetrating damage, you have 3 penetrating damage up top, 4 damage potentially if you're up close, and you can swing twice. I get that people are not liking that he's not comic accurate, but he does bring the pain. So I would say in sealed is where he's going to really shine. He's double espresso, maybe 2.5.
Full agree. It's cheap, easy penetrating damage. For sealed, that's a godsend, but in constructed, you got better options.
Yeah, I mean, I would maybe put him at a 2 in sealed. I'm not sure. I mean, there's a lot of other stuff in this set that, but I mean, penetrating damage is very good. I definitely think he's good. You want to pull him in sealed because of the penetrating damage, and also he's got a long dial too, for 50 points. I mean, with that invulnerable. So, I mean, if your opponent doesn't have penetrating damage, then it's going to be tough.
If they don't have the Fury versus you're the Fury, yes, I agree.
All right, so let's take a look at set number 5, which is the Sevalithi Vampire. 25 points, 8 speed with stealth, 11 attack with blades, but he later gets steel energy, 17 defense with toughness, 1 damage with exploit weakness, which goes up to 2 later in his dial. I mean, he's a generic. Brian, what do you think about this?
Similar to the Fury. Herbal tea for constructed, but sealed, maybe 2 stars. He's definitely not as good as the Fury, but he's also half the cost. It's a cheap, easy fit thing you can use just to round your team out. And if you can catch your opponent off guard and get that blades in, that can swing a game.
Kenny, what do you think?
So herbal tea in constructed, 100%. I'm not as high as Brian, but I do respect that he can swing above his weight class. He has 1 click of it. He has stealth, so he can hide. I do think for 25 points, the value is there, but I think I'd rather pull Cypher. I think I'd rather pull some other characters. If I get him, I'm not too upset about it, but I'm probably going to give him a single espresso. When it comes to sealed, I wouldn't be too excited to have him. He's definitely more of a filler piece, and he fills that role well, but it's hard for me to say, man, a filler piece, triple espresso. I'm just not going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think he's a filler piece as well. He could be a good potential tie-up piece for 25 points, because he's got kind of a long dial with the toughness, and you just base him against somebody and then hope to swing for that Blades exploit, which is, definitely possible. So I think he would be good, but I think there's other options for 25 points. But I don't know. I guess I'd give him like a 1 or maybe a 2, but maybe a 1.5. I'm not sure.
And that's fair.
Let's take a look at set number 6, which is White Priestess. White Priestess is another generic. 25 points, 4 range with single target, 8 speed, 10 attack with Pensai, 17 defense with super senses, 2 damage with enhancement. She's got the mystical keyword. Kenny, what do you think about White Priestess?
So she's not bad. She's doing half of what Cypher does with the empower and enhancement, but what Cypher doesn't bring is the penetrating damage. Now, it's only 4 range, so there's nothing to write home about. I think I'm giving her 1, maybe 1.5 when it comes to sealed. Then again, 25 points. When you're playing sealed, you're playing with commons. I mean, that's what's going to win you these matchups, and how well you use them. For constructed, she doesn't have a keyword. She doesn't have anything that shouts out to me. So we're looking at another herbal tea constructed figure here. But I am slightly more excited to play with White Priestess than I am with the Vampire when it comes to sealed. But it's a minimal difference.
Oh yeah,
Brian.
Similar. You're now looking at her for constructed, but sealed, she is probability control. She doesn't have it top dial, but probably also doesn't want to be looking down that 10 attack, 2 damage side blast on a 25 point piece either. That's nice for some harassment. They hit her, they're probably going to drop her onto prob, and that does put you in a leg up over them. I'd give her maybe 1.5.
Yeah, I think I'd give her a
Definitely.
one or a 1.5 in sealed as well. I mean, the enhancement is nice, but I'd rather have like Cypher, who has both and power and enhancement for 25 points, also. All right, so let's take a look at the Green Priestess. The Green Priestess is also 25 points. She's got 4 range with a single target, 8 speed with running shot, 10 attack with precision strike, 17 defense with energy shield deflection, and 2 damage. And she's also the mystical keyword. So Brian, what do you think about Green Priestess?
She doesn't shine as much as the White Priestess does, but she ain't terrible. Definitely would be considered running in sealed. I'll give her a shot for sealed and herbal tea for constructed.
Kenny?
Yeah, anytime you get a cheap figure that has move and attack, has to at least be 1 star. But that being said, it's not super impressive. Precision Strike is nice. I don't think there's a ton of super senses in this set. But there are some reducers, so being able to always crack through invulnerability, impervious, is nothing to sneeze at. But, you know, I wouldn't want her to lead the charge against Colossus either. So she's probably herbal tea constructed, and I would give her a 1 in sealed.
So far with all of the comments that we've looked at so far, none of them outside of Swap Tech have been like super meta or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
At the moment, yeah.
Okay. Oh, and by the way, if you're watching at home or listening, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it, and I hope that way you can enjoy more of these set reviews and interviews that I have on the channel and everything else that we offer as far as content, HeroClix related content for Coffee and Clicks. So let's take a look at the next figure, which is Lockheed, set number 8, set number 008. He's 45 points. He's got the X-Men team ability, 6 range with a single target, 8 speed with running shot and flying, 10 attack with energy explosion, 18 defense with a special, and 2 damage. And Lockheed is tiny size. The defense special is fiercely protective of my friends, defend, free, make an attack targeting an opposing character that missed a friendly character since your last turn. So Kenny, what do you think about Lockheed?
I like Lockheed. 50 points is a lot for a 4-click figure with no reducers, but he is also potentially attacking you twice. 18 defend is always a good thing to have. It's weird that it's a tiny 18 defender, so people will be shooting over it. It gets a +1 boost. I think this is a 1 constructed, but this might be a 2 in sealed. And it's a common, so if you're lucky enough to pull 2 and all of a sudden your opponent starts missing, that's a lot of free attacks that are going to start adding up. So this Lockheed could be quite annoying to deal with.
Yeah, I had the misfortune of playing against him twice at the pre-release. He definitely punches above his weight class. Those free attacks add up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I give him 2 for sealed and a 1 for constructed. He has a defend piece. He's got good keyboards, so I might find use for him.
Yeah, I think a 2 for sealed is safe. I mean, anything with free attacks is good. You do have to keep him protected because of the lack of reducers, but also running shot energy explosion is always like dangerous and sealed. So,
Absolutely.
So let's take a look at the next figure, which is Danny Moonstar, set number. What set number is she? 009.
9.
So for Danny Moonstar, she's 50 points. She's got the X-Men team ability, 6 range with 3 targets, 8 speed with running shot, 11 attack with incapacitate, 17 defense with toughness, 2 damage. Keywords Asgardian, mystical, New Mutants, and X-Men. I do like that she has the Asgardian keyword. And she's got a rally trait. So rally for opposing attack rolls if they roll a 5. Mind control. Free, remove one of Danny Moonstar's rally dice to use mind control as free, but only to target a character she hit with an attack this turn. So, Kenny, what do you think about Danny Moonstar?
Oh, I love Danny Moonstar. I think in Constructed, she's somewhere in between 1.5, with all this X-Men swap or Asgardian recruiters. I know, that's crazy, right? Being able to mind control twice, that's something to sneeze at, especially at a common. Chances are she doesn't really see Constructed play, but I do think she could hold her own if she ever does enter the fray, but where she really shines, Sealed. You pull her, that's a great start. She doesn't have the damage, but she has the pace control with being able to mind control, incapacitate, potentially mind controlling twice if you hit those rallies correctly. She is definitely 3 stars in Sealed.
Oh yeah, three shot Sealed. I won games with her, and the one time I played her, my opponent also had her. I lost that game because of her. Hitting a triple target mind control and then hitting it again as free the same turn is game ending.
Yeah.
Take your opponent's team, get 2 turns with it, and then they get to, and that was one of your actions. It's very hard to walk back from that.
Do you ever also use the in-cap part of it? So like triple target in-cap and then mind control everybody that got in-capped, or is it probably better to just double mind control?
It really depends on the situation, I think.
Yeah.
I would imagine... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Most of the time I think mind control is the way to go. But there are situations where maybe your opponent's spread out a little too much, not going to be able to get the attacks off with them, and it's better just to lock them down for the turn and then try to reposition them with the mind control.
Yeah, I can also see a situation where you will use mind control. You might want to move these characters as part of the mind control, and then all of a sudden they're no longer part of the range. She doesn't target them regardless of range of line of fire. So there is a world where maybe you do an in-cap and a mind control. But, I get that the sexy play probably would be double mind control if you can pull it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely a big fan of her as well. I think you guys definitely hit it on the head with that one. So the next figure is Colossus. Colossus is set number 10. He's 50 points. He's got the X-Men team ability. He's 0 range, 8 speed with charge, 11 attack with super strength, 18 defense with invulnerable, 3 damage with empower. He does have a stop click on his last click. His defense power is stop defend. He's got 19 defense on that last click. And he's got a rally trait, rally opposing attack rolls, so if they roll a 5. Free, remove one of Colossus's rally dice to use support as free. So, Brian, what do you think about Colossus?
I'm thinking 2 shots for Sealed and Constructed. He is very potent. That stop defend with a 19 is really cool. He might not see a lot of main force play, but he's definitely something X-Men are going to want for swap tech teams. In Sealed, he's a powerhouse. You can give him an object. He can hit for 4 damage, enhance that the rest of your group, and then if he gets hit, he's going to drop on a stop that's going to protect the rest of your team and potentially free support them back up. He can swing games all on his own.
Kenny, what do you think?
Well, I respect Brian's opinion about his constructed rating because I do like him. I am not as optimistic that he will see that much play. However, I could see some people putting him on there. Support as free, cheap defend, things like that. I could see him being a single espresso when it comes to constructed, but he does shine in Sealed. He's definitely a triple espresso. I pulled this guy. I'm very happy. Anytime you get a cheap stop click guy, it's great. Even better when they have 19. The one knock on him is that he doesn't have a reduce on that stop click, so poison or something indirect could potentially KO him. But with X-Men, with their TA, they like healing. He could support S3 with the rally. He can be quite obnoxious if he hangs around too much. So definitely triple espresso Sealed.
For me, I think he's for constructed. I think he's like a 1.5, maybe a 1. He is very good. I think for Sealed, he's right up there. I think he's like a 2.5 for Sealed. I think there's still a lot of other stuff we haven't looked at, but I think he's really good.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at Orca's Soldier. Orca's Soldier is another generic. He's 25 points, 4 range with single target. He's set number 11, 6 speed with running shot, 10 attack, 17 defense with toughness, and 2 damage with range combat expert. He's got the robot, sentinel, and soldier keywords. Kenny, what do you think about Orca's Soldier?
I love me some Orca Soldier. Remember how we just looked at all those other 25-point, White Priestess, Green Priestess, the vampires, and we were all like 1.5. This guy's a 3. He doesn't have the movement like the other ones, and I know his range is low, but that's a threatening top dial for 25 points with movement attack. I think he's a 3 when it comes to sealed. I think he's a 2.5 in constructed. He meshes well with all the keywords that would want to use him. If you like to play Master Mold loves him. If you like to play Recruiter Sentinel, which there is one now, we will get to him later, he's a perfect option for that as well. So is he an automatic constructed play? No, but if you are playing a theme with robots or Sentinel, it's going to be very hard to say, I don't need to own 2 or 3 of these guys. So for that reason alone, he's definitely, I would say, I'm not going to say 3, I'll say 2.5 in constructed.
Yeah, full agree with Kenny. I don't really have much to add. He's simple. He's a sentinel. Very straightforward figure.
Yeah, I think you guys both said it. I mean, Orca's Soldier, he's a low point sentinel with good values. So, 2 for constructed, and he's also very good in sealed. So, for his point value. All right, so let's take a look at the next figure, which is Iceman, set number 12. He comes in at either 75 points or 45 points. He has 6 range with 2 targets, 10 speed with running shot, and flying, 11 attack with a special power, 18 defense with energy shield deflection, 3 damage. He has an X-Men team ability. He has champions, defenders, and X-Men keywords. His special attack power is when Iceman hits, each hit character modifies their speed -2 until your next turn. Brian, what do you think about Iceman?
I'm going to give him a herbal tea for constructed, and I think a 1 shot for sealed. He's not bad. He's got good range. The attack special, though, just doesn't really do much for me. With his average, 6 is an average range. If he's hitting someone with it, they can probably shoot him back, which means the speed penalty doesn't really affect much. But if you need a range attacker on your team, he can fit that role.
Yeah, Kenny, what do you think?
So I agree with Brian 100% that if you see this guy in constructed, it fell out of someone's box by accident and landed on the map somehow. Again, he's not bad. What I do disagree, though, is I will give him a double espresso when it comes to sealed. We're saying 6 is the average range. Right now, nothing has top 6 in the commons. And what's the rarity you see the most in sealed? Commons. He matches longevity of Solemn, but unlike Solemn, he's doing it with range double shot. I don't care about his attack power, just for the exact same reason Brian says. But 10, 11, 18, 3 is still healthy numbers, so that might as well be an attack. That might as well be a blank attack spot. He's still doing good work. He gives me longevity. He's an X-Men TA. If I pull Colossus with Supporters 3, I have a constant long dial attacker. I do like him. If I pull him, I will try to play him at 75, but if I pull something else better for my rares or super rares, then yeah, he's also worth it for 45. I'll give him a double espresso and sealed.
I mean, for me, I think he may be like a 1.5 in sealed, or maybe, it's kind of hard to decide between the two of you. What you both said about Iceman. I mean, he seems a little squishy for me as far as his defense. But I mean, he does have the energy shield deflection. If you keep him back and protect him, then he can. He does have high defense values. Good values all around. So it's tough. I think it depends on like the game and everything, like how well he's going to fare. So I think he could be swingy either way.
So keep this in mind as well. Even though we just said we don't care about the attack power, If he hits chargers, I can get to him who don't care about ESD. They're going to have a hard time getting to him because they have -2 speed.
That's true. Yeah. All right, so let's take a look at Cyclops. This is Cyclops set number 13. He's 50 points. He's a common, 6 range with single target, X-Men team ability, 8 speed with running shot, 10 attack, 18 defense, and 3 damage with range combat expert. He has a trait leadership. When Cyclops uses it and succeeds this turn, friendly characters that have the X-Men team ability may use it as free. Kenny, what do you think about Cyclops?
Oh boy. I'll give him a 1 in constructed because if you're playing X-Men and you want access to free leadership, he's one of the ways to get it. I think there's other characters that have it, so I might go back on that and say Herbal Tea. However, for Sealed, 4 damage is, we just talked about how 6 range, nothing has topped it so far, so it's pretty good. I get that it's a boring vanilla dial, but it's hard to ignore those values. And he does bring a little longevity. But it's a riskier play because he doesn't have ESD or super senses or toughness or anything like that. I think I would give him 1.5 espresso shot when it comes to Sealed. I'm not ecstatic to lead him on my team, but if I pull him, I'm not too upset either. I can make it work.
Yeah. I'm going to give him Herbal Tea for constructed. At the 50-point range, X-Men has better leadership options, and really that's all you'd be running him for. In Sealed, though, I'd probably give him a 2. That 11 attack, 4 damage running shot is nothing to sneeze at. He does want a little bit of support. If you get that 0-1 storm to reposition your opponents a little bit, so you open them up, or if you get a source of telekinesis to move them around, you can easily get a alpha strike or pseudo alpha strike off with him and just take one of your opponent's pieces out of play. If not KO, just yeah. He does need this a little bit of oomph, but he brings so much for what he has. That's definitely something you want to put some heavy consideration into.
Yeah, I mean, I think. Go ahead, Kenny.
I did overlook that he was also our first leadership common, so that make him more important for sure.
Leadership's important.
Yeah, you definitely need leadership on your team. But I mean, trying to compare him to the Iceman that we just saw, and obviously Iceman's 25 more points, but Iceman had flying. He's got a little bit more speed, so he can get around better. But I mean, Cyclops for 50 points and leadership, and he's a solid attacker for that, glass cannon for that. If you need to fill that niche in your team, I think he works for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take a look at Gorgon, set number 14. So Gorgon is 75 points. He's a team player, team ability, 0 range with single target, 10 attack with charge, 10 speed with charge, 11 attack with nothing, 18 defense with combat reflexes, 3 damage with outwit. He also has, you could pay the 5 points for the sword bearer trait, where he comes with any sword equipment equipped. So, that's pretty much what you see is what you get with Gorgon. Brian, what do you think about Gorgon?
Unless we start seeing some serious help for AIM or Hydra, I don't think he's going to be seeing any constructed play. I'll give him a Herbal Tea for that. Sealed, though, easy 3-shot. 35-point outwit is phenomenal in Sealed. Any character that can give you access to the 3 support powers, the Perplex, the Outwit, the Prob, is worth considering, and the cheaper the better.
Mm-hmm.
Definite 3-shot for Sealed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not really much I could add on there. He is a sword bearer. He is an X-Men, so he might see constructed play just to get swapped out and drop his weapon. But other than that, he's a team player, so you're trying to find a way to get a team ability access besides X-Men. There's use there, but that's about it. Sealed, I don't see why you don't play him. We were talking about Cyclops and Iceman, how they have the 6 range and it's hard for people to get to them. This is that guy that can get to them, at least at 75 points. But chances are you're going to see him mostly at 35 points because, you're saving 40 points.
Yeah, I mean, for 35 points, or if he does come with equipment, you might see him for 40 points. But yeah, he's got the outwit, so he's super cheap. I think he's like a 2 or even a 3 in sealed, and because outwit is so important, but not in constructed. Not in constructed. Go a 1 in constructed. All right, so everybody at home, that was the commons. We just finished the commons.
Oh, not quite.
Oh, did we miss one?
We got 2 more. Magic and Roulette.
Okay.
16 commons, yeah.
All right, that'll go to the outtakes. Okay, well, so all right, so Magik is the next figure. Set number 15. She is 25 points. X-Men team ability, 3 range with a single target. She's got 8 speed with a special, 9 attack, 17 defense, and 1 damage with perplex. Keywords: mystical, New Mutants, and X-Men. She has the optional trait for the Sword Bearer for an extra 5 points, and her trait is this is what's her special power, because it says it's a trait.
It's
speed special.
In and out of limbo, phasing teleport, passenger 4, but only to carry characters that share a keyword with her.
Okay, so that's her special. That's not a trait, then. That's actually a special power.
That is her speed special.
Okay, so Kenny, what do you think about Magik?
She's a 3 for sure and sealed. She's cheap perplex, which we saw already with some other characters, but obviously the big thing here is that she's carrying your swarm around. Your swarm team of low classic characters, and the beauty of this is that we saw a bunch of those mystical guys, the vampire, the priestesses, they all have mystical keyword. That's a shared keyword with Magik. X-Men, this is an X-Men set, so chances are mostly everyone's going to have X-Men, so there's very, very few characters that she can't pull this off with. And like I said before with Cypher, I'm spending 25 or 30 points. She only has 1 base damage. That can easily be a 6 or a 5 with a good blade draw. And that's never, ever, ever a bad thing. You can't rely on it, but when it happens, it feels so good. So definitely a 3 when it comes to sealed. Because of the whole swap sword bearer shenanigans, she's most likely a minimum a double espresso when it comes to constructed.
Yeah, I agree. Even if by some miracle you manage to pull no X-Men in an X-Men set, and she's your only X-Men, she's still a 25-point perplex piece in sealed. Yeah. That little bit of perplex just to swing attack values or defense values as you need them, that can win you games.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with both of you. I would put her at a 3 for sealed and a 2 for constructed. Potential for X-Men teams, X-Men swap teams, and all that stuff. All right, so let's take a look at the next figure. Okay, so this is the last common.
Yes.
This is set number 16, Roulette. She is 30 points. She has 0 range with a single target. She has 6 speed with Force Blast, 10 attack, 16 defense with Super Senses, 2 damage with Probability Control. She has the Hellions and X-Men keywords. And her trait, Luck, when needed the most. Once per game, Roulette may reroll a critical hit anywhere on the map. Once per game, Roulette may reroll a critical miss anywhere on the map. So, Brian, what do you think about Roulette?
Easy 3-star for sealed, maybe 1 shot for constructed. Like I've been saying with Perplex and Outwit in the last 2 figures, this is Prob, it's support power. Teams live and die by their support powers. If you see her, and you should be finding some way to squeeze her onto your sealed team. In constructed, there's probably better ways to get access to Prob for X-Men, and the Hellions is not really a relevant keyword. So she probably is going to see constructed play, but she is still cheap Prob. There's a glimmer of hope for
her. Kenny, what do you think?
No, I agree. Sealed, you definitely, she's going to be a triple shot. Just like Gorgon was our only outwit source when it came to the commons, Roulette is our only, at least top dial, prop source. I know one of the Priestess had his back end, so you definitely rather have Roulette than that option. When it comes to prop, the trait's nothing to sneeze at either. This game can love you sometimes, this game can hate you, and being able to get a mulligan on a crit miss is a good thing. or being crit hitted on is a good thing. So, and that's anywhere on the map. So, she's just she's a very forgiving character to have on your team who does prop, which good enough reason for me to include her on my SEAL team. Constructed, I agree with Brian. Probably a 1. I doubt just because of the trait she'll be a double espresso. Because of that, people are probably not. While good, that's not good enough to play it. It's probably a single when it comes to constructed.
I agree with both of you. I would say 1 in constructed, 3 in sealed. I think if you're one of those players that always crit misses, then and you go to your sealed event and you pull her, then you're really happy. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's a really really good in sealed just because of the prob for sure. But also the extra bonus is even better. That is the end of the comments. Now we've officially finished the comments. Once again, you are watching Coffee and Clix, and our grading scale is triple espresso for top tier figures, double espresso for impressive second tier figures, single espresso for not really impressive figures, and herbal tea for the bottom of the barrel. And let's jump right in and start with the uncommons. So here we go with the uncommons. The first uncommon is set number 17, Cable. He is 70 points. He's got 6 range with 2 targets. He's got the X-Men team ability, 10 speed with running shot, 11 attack with penetrating psychic blast, 18 defense with toughness, 3 damage with perplex. He's got the future sword, soldier, warrior, X-Force, and X-Men keywords, which are great keywords. He has the 5-point sword bearer trait, so you can optionally pay for that trait to add a sword equipment, start the game with the sword equipment. And then he has a rally trait, opposing attack rolls, so for 5, so if they roll a 5, free, remove 1 of Cable's rally dice. If you do, this turn when Cable uses perplex or outwit, he may use it to target a character regardless of line of fire. He comes. You can either pay 70 points or 40 points for that for Cable. Kenny, what do you think about Cable?
I like him. I think good way to start off the uncommons. You will see less of Cables and you will see the other 16 that we saw. You pull him, you have options. Do I want to start with Perplex and Running Shot? Do I want to start with Charge and Outwit? And I think good enough point values to work with here. I would say he's a double espresso if you pull him. He's bringing something to the table no matter what. The rally is actually very, very good. Works with both of his utility powers. So, and 7 clicks of life. For the full dial, 45, you're getting 4 clicks. Obviously, that's a little scarier, but, that's the risk and reward of paying for less points. Definitely double when it comes to sealed. Constructed, I just don't see it. I think he's herbal tea constructed. I know what we said, sword bearer, everyone gets a minimum too, but we just saw a whole bunch of other characters who are just already lower point value. So why play this one when you could do it with the other ones if all you're going to do is swap swords?
Yeah. Yeah, I got to give him a 3 shot for sealed. Decent long dial. He's got good range for swing, access to penetrating damage, and depending on what your team needs, he's either got perplex or outwit to round off the support sweep, whatever else he pulled. This is the sort of character you can build your seal team around and expect to do well.
Yeah, I mean, I think Cable's really good in sealed. The fact that even him not being a flyer, he's still really good because he's got that 10 speed, so he can get around and he can hit for that penetrating damage. I'd give him a 3, maybe like a 2.5 in sealed. The fact that he's got the support powers, the perplex and the outwit, I'd actually give him a 3 for sealed because of that. Yeah. And even with the rally dice, it even makes it more potent with his perplex or outwit. He can potentially use it map wide. So,
he still needs range. It's just
oh, he
It's
still
just
needs
line
range.
of fire.
there's no blocking line. Yeah.
Okay.
Still very good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very good. And so, let's move on to the next figure. This is the one that a lot of people are talking about. Peeper, set number 18. He has he's 25 points. He's got the shield team ability, X-Men team ability, 5 range with a single target. He's got he's got 10 attack with precision strike, 6 speed, 17 defense, 2 damage with empower. He's got the Brotherhood of Mutants sword and X-Men keywords. He has a improved targeting, elevated, hindering, blocking characters, and what's that?
It's out of adjacency.
Out of adjacency.
And make range attacks while adjacent to opposing characters. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then his trait is, I could see for both of us, friendly characters modify speed +2 if carrying Peeper. So a lot of people have been talking about Peeper. Brian, what are your thoughts on Peeper?
Triple shot, sealed and constructed. This is probably the first character we've seen that's going to be better in constructed than sealed, but he's still phenomenal in both. The improved targeting is nice, that he can take little pot shots at things. That's cool. Really, though, the meat of him is the +2 speed while he's being carried and that empower. You have characters that can carry multiple people, like, say, the Magik we saw a little bit ago, or just a character who just can carry one, but wants to get that +2 on their swing range. Peeper's there for him. And he's got the shield TA it's just a cherry on top to boost their range and possibly damage all range attacks. He is a phenomenal support figure, probably the best we've seen in a while.
Yeah, Kenny, what do you think?
So I do agree. I'm going to give him the triple. I still think he's, very, very good, and definitely going to see play. People are really overrating what he could do. While it's always possible and the potential is there, we're overlooking how much love he needs to pull off some of these massive attacks that people are talking about. Again, if you pull it off and you could do it, go for it. You earned it, right? But it's definitely not going to be as easy as some are claiming it to be. Also, that's going to be a lot of clustering, which is very easy to punish as well if you group up too many characters in one spot and heaven forbid you miss or you don't get the outcome that you want. That being said, for 25 points, definitely worth the risk. Shield and X-Men TA, I mean, there's so many other things I can say why I would play him, but I agree in Sealed, if I see him, I'm probably going to put him on my team. He's a triple espresso for both constructed and sealed. Just, I think what people are talking about, he's either quadruple or quintuple espresso, and I'm like, let's pull it back, guys. He's good, but don't get too carried away with him.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's got potential with that improved targeting thing, and you can do stuff with him. But for me, my favorite part of him is that, well, I don't know, he's got a lot of stuff going on that is really good, actually. The friendly characters modify speed +2 if carrying Peeper. That's obviously great. And the fact that when you do carry him, you get benefit of the empower if you're like making a close attack. So you're getting the empower from Peeper, and then if you're making a range attack, like Brian said, he's got the shield TA. So like all of that, I mean, he's very good for 25 points. He's got a lot of utility. But I mean, I don't think he's like Kenny said, I don't think he's like a 5-star. He's just a 3-star. All right, so let's take a look at the next figure, which is Sync. Sync is set number 19. 70 points. X-Men team ability, 5 range with single target, 8 speed with flying, 10 attack with precision strike, 17 defense with willpower, 3 damage. Keywords are Generation X, Sword, and X-Men. His trait, he's got 2 traits. Always adapting, which is phasing teleport. Once per turn when another friendly character within range heals. After resolutions heal, sync 1 click. And that could be used in conjunction with the X-Men team ability. And then also another trait, always evolving. Free, choose a friendly standard character within range and line of fire, and 2 displayed standard powers that character can use. This turn, Sync can use the chosen powers. So, Kenny, what do you think about Sync here?
For 70 points, 7 clicks, the longevity is definitely there. If you're pulling for sealed, it's not a bad option. 70 points for mostly utility tends to be a little higher than what most people would want to play or what people can handle. So for that reason alone, I'm going to give him a double espresso. I understand that could easily be a triple or a single, depending on what your character brings to the table when it comes to standard powers. I understand that it's no, it is friendly standard, so never mind. I do like the first trait, especially with the healing. A lot of opportunity there for him to stay top dial, but still, it's definitely risky. And for 70 points, when we're looking at risk reward, that kind of teeters one way. If he is one of the only characters you have when it comes to longevity, and this is the best you have to work with, it's manageable, but not ideal. I'll say double when it comes to sealed. Probably never going to see the light of day constructed, most likely an herbal tea, even though he has a really unique kit here, but I just don't see it.
Yeah, herbal tea for constructed as well. Sealed, he is very hard to give a rating to. I would give him a double shot like Kenny, but it depends entirely on what else you pull. You know, he doesn't do much on his own. He just gives you more of whatever you already have, and if you have good options, being able to double up on can do a lot of good. If you don't have those options available, though, he ain't gonna do much for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm agreeing with both of you guys on Sync for sure. Let's take a look at the next figure, which is Honey Badger, set number 20. She comes in at either 80 points or 50 points. She has team player, team ability, 0 range with a single target, 10 speed with charge, 11 attack with blades, 18 defense with a special power, and 2 damage with exploit weakness. She has the Assassin, Champions, Martial Artists, New Mutants, Weapon X, and X-Men keywords. Her trait is I never leave him behind. At the beginning of the game, generate a Jonathan bystander. At the beginning of your turn, you may place Jonathan in a square adjacent to Honey Badger. Her defense power is invincible and super senses. And the Jonathan bystander also has charge, team player, team ability, charge, blades, and exploit for 8 speed, 10 attack, 17 defense, and 1 damage with exploit weakness. Brian, what do you think about Honey Badger?
2-star for sealed, probably going to be maybe 1-star for constructed. X-Men swap might want to use her to generate the Jonathan before they swap her out, but she's not going to see map time in constructed. Sealed, though, she's got decent damage output. She's hard to put down with all that regen and invincible. And being able to surprise pop the Jonathan out from across the map and run him in for a quick, easy kill is going to catch some players by surprise, I think.
Yeah, and Kenny, what do you think?
I'm going to agree. If it was just regenerate, I think she's a triple espresso, but she's not. So I'm going to say double because, of what Brian just said. And I also agree with constructed where, yeah, there's opportunity there. You could cheat Jonathan bystander out there. We've seen it with Lockheed and Cape Prydes from earlier sets and whatnot. While I don't think that will happen very often, it exists. So let's recognize and respect it. But that's pretty much it. So I would say double for sealed, single for that other one constructed, and that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would give her a 2 for sealed and 1 for constructed as well. All right, so let's take a look at Cyclops, set number 21. He is 35 points. He's got the 7 range with a single target, the X-Men team ability, 8 speed with running shot, 11 attack, 17 defense with toughness, 3 damage with leadership. He has improved targeting through out of adjacency, and he has a trait, the recruiter trait, which for those of you who haven't seen that, it says because that's a recurring trait that's been in other sets in the past. Recruiter, power, choose a character with the X-Men keyword in your KO area that hasn't been chosen for this effect and wasn't generated by a recruiter effect. If you do, generate a character with the X-Men keyword from your sideline that has a lower point value than the chosen character. This game, the generated character can't be replaced, and your opponent scores them immediately instead of when they're KO'd. I really like the Cyclops. Brian, what do you think about Cyclops?
Well, probably going to be a 2 shot and sealed just for the cheap leadership. And running shot, 3 damage, 11 tech, not bad. I don't know if recruiter is going to matter much for sealed. It's going to be very dependent on what your pulls are. But hey, if you manage to get it off, more power to you. Constructed, though, I think he's definitely a little more interesting. Probably going to give him like a 2.5. He's cheap. Recruiter might see some good play with the X-Men. We'll have to see how it goes. Recruiter just feels like it's a really untapped resource just waiting for someone to crack.
Kenny, what do you think about that?
Cyclops. I agree. I think he's 2.5 in seal. This is an X-Men set, so if you get lucky, all 10 figures might make it on your force build sheet. Not necessarily on your main force, but on your sideline. But again, it does matter with the point values, how things get KO'd. So things have to happen in a certain order where, if your big guy gets KO'd first, that kind of hurts you a little bit. But if it works the other way, you might be able to pull another character here or there to help with your sealed wins. I see the potential here for constructed, especially cheap costs, 35. If you have a lot of action to work with and you kind of want to keep that pace going, I don't think it'll happen, but we saw Mystical Recruiter do very well when Doctor Strange came out, so who's to say that it can't happen again with X-Men Cyclops, especially with the plethora of X-Men that we're going to have available to us with all the X-Men theme sets that we've gotten in the past years. I'm going to say probably, and subject to change, I'll say 2.5 when it comes to sealed, because he is cheap leadership and recruiter can actually work. And constructed, I'll probably say a 2, but I can see that actually going higher down the road.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Cyclops, it would be a 2 for both constructed and sealed. I think that he is just got potential with that recruiter trait because he's low points. He's 35 points, which is one of the lowest we've seen for recruiter. I mean, other than like Baron Zemo, I think, from the other set. And he's got leadership. And he's got a great keyword, so X-Men. And if you don't want to use the recruiter, you can always swap him out because most people that are playing X-Men are playing like swap teams and stuff like that. So,
and something that we didn't mention, 7 range. Right now, out of all the characters he's seen, he's got the longest range.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's take a look at the next figure, which is Gorgon, the uncommon Gorgon, set number 22. He's 65 points. He does come with that optional 5-point sword bearer trait. He's got the team player and X-Men team abilities. He's got 0 range with 2 targets, 12 speed with charge, 12 attack, 18 defense with willpower, and 3 damage with empower. He has a trait, leadership. When Gorgon uses it and succeeds this turn, friendly characters that have X-Men team ability may use it as free. That seems to be a commonly recurring trait among like a sub theme in this set. So,
yeah.
Kenny, what do you think of Gorgon here?
This is one of those rare instances where I like the higher point line than I do the lower point line. That's not to say the lower point line's bad, but we're looking for a 35-point difference. It's a difference of 4 speed, 1 attack, 1 defense, and 1 damage. And because it's charged, that matters so much. He can go 6 squares, punch you in the face with his 12 attack. If he has a sword, that could be more. Cheap leadership or 65-point leadership, I don't care. It's leadership. It's always going to be good. And he brings both X-Men and team player, while the other one was only team player. So As much as I love the common Gorgon, I actually think this one might be slightly better to play. It's possible that you play both because he's an uncommon and the other one's a common. This guy is a triple espresso, easily in sealed. Again, Swordbearer shenanigans, probably a double at minimum when it comes to constructed. But chances are he's not really seeing the map, even though with a great captain, I doubt it. But this guy really shines in sealed, and that's you pull him, he should do a lot of work for you.
And Brian, what do you think?
Pretty much the opposite. I don't hate him. I don't dislike him, but if I see him, I'm going to be immediately disappointed I didn't pull the common. The lack of outwit makes all the difference to me. He is not a bad piece. I'll give him a single shot for sealed. 12 attack is nothing to sneeze at, but he doesn't have any sort of penetrating. He doesn't have any good defenses himself. He's going to run out there. He's going to connect for 3 damage, and then he's probably going to drop. He's neat. He's good. He fills a role in your team, but yeah, just a one shot for me. And constructed herbal tea. No applications outside of a swap tech.
Yeah, I tend to agree with Brian on this one. I think Gorgon, I mean, he is cheap for his values, for his combat values, but he doesn't have any like damage reduction or anything like that. So it is kind of risky to play him at that point value, I think. And I don't even like him at his lower point value that much either. I do agree that his higher point value is probably better. But I don't, I'm not a big fan of him. And I don't think he would, for constructed, a 0 or herbal tea, and for sealed, I would say maybe a 1 or a 1.5, I would say. Let's take a look at who is next. Magik. Magik is 65 points, so this is another one part of that subset of that sub-theme of characters. She's the next uncommon, set number 23, 65 points. She's got the Mystics and X-Men team abilities, 4 range with single target, mystical, new mutants, ruler, and X-Men keywords, 10 speed with charge, 11 attack with precision strike, 18 defense with energy shield deflection, and 3 damage. She does have that Swordbearer trait, and she also has the Great Captain of Krakoa trait, where she has leadership, and when she uses it and succeeds this turn, friendly characters that have the X-Men team ability may use it as free. She has the 30-point line. She starts with Prob, Super Senses, and Facing Teleport. Brian, what do you think about Magik here?
Oh, my feelings are mixed. If you need an attacker, the 65-point line isn't terrible at that. It's squishy, but values are decent. The 30-point line, where you're getting leadership and prob, is phenomenal, but she's also not doing much else for you with the phasing and the loaded 17 defense. But Super Senses does help with that. I'd probably find a way to squeeze her on, just because prob is always a good thing to have. So I'll give her a 2 for sealed, and again, she's probably not seeing constructed outside of swaps, so give it the 1 shot for constructed.
Kenny?
Yeah, she's, I mean, again, constructed. I think we know what the deal is here. She's never really going to see the map. In sealed, she is inferior to Gorgon when it comes to that point value, and we're looking for a melee attacker. Her real shine here is that 30-point line. That's a triple espresso by itself, but that's also your uncommon slot, so that means you missed out on an opportunity of something that could give you a little bit more oomph. That doesn't mean it's not insurmountable. We saw some commons that can swing above the weight class, but she is an oddball here at an uncommon, where it's like you're great, you're happy you pulled her, but at the same time, it's just like, there's other uncommons that probably could have done a little bit more. The 65-point line, I mean, again, it's not bad. Those numbers aren't bad. But it's one of those things where, you know, you have to work with it, you will, but not your ideal situation. So probably a 1.5 at the 65 line, probably a triple at the 30-point line in constructed. She's just dropping off her sword and leaving.
Yeah, I think for Magik at the 30-point line is the only place I'd really want to play her at in sealed. I mean, constructed she's a 0. But I mean, for sealed, I would definitely want to play her unless I really needed like a charge piece. But I mean, like she's got the prob, she's got the leadership. So I'd give her like a 2.5 in sealed. Like Brian said, she's not going to really be an attacker or anything, but I mean, you have to. Prob is just so important in sealed. So I mean, it definitely helps, and you need leadership as well, mostly. So. So yeah, I'd give her like a 3 in sealed. Let's take a look at the next figure, which is Tarot. She's got the same sculpt as Roulette. Does anybody know? Are they like 2 versions of the same person, or
different characters?
Share. Yeah, they're different characters.
Sculpt share, but yeah, they're not the same person.
They're not the same person. Okay, so Tarot is 30 points. She's set number 24 from the uncommons, 4 range with 3 targets. She's got 7 speed with stealth, 10 attack with incapacitate, 17 defense, and 2 damage with a special. She's got the Hellions and X-Men keywords. She has a trait for all characters with this trait. When you would draw a tarot card from your deck, you may instead draw 2 and choose one to use and put the other one at the bottom of your deck, which is very powerful. If you know what tarot cards can do, that's a very powerful trait and that interacts with tarot cards. Then she has a damage power, shape change, free, roll a d6. Tarot can use the corresponding power until your next turn. 1 to 3, perplex, and 4 to 6, outwit. Similar sculpt to Roulette, and both her and Roulette seem to be really fun figures. Kenny, what do you think about Tarot here?
I think she's a triple in this resso. It's hard to say that without actually seeing how tarots are going to play and how people actually receive them, but they seem to be it's a very powerful mechanic, and she offers manipulation of it, and anytime you can manipulate anything in this game, that's already a good thing. But let's just put that aside for a second. For 30 points, she's obviously a utility figure, triple incap, 4 range. It means that she's not completely helpless. She provides you shape change, and then a 50-50 shot of either perplex or outwit. And like Brian has said before, anytime you have access to any of those 3 powers, and she has access to 2 of them, not all the time, but 50% of the time, that's already worth her 30-point price tag. So I'm going to give her a triple when it comes to constructed. In sealed, she's probably a triple. Again, in the uncommon slot, it's like, okay, great, but wish I got something else. But once again, it's not insurmountable. You can make it work if you end up pulling her as your uncommon.
Yeah, likewise, triple for both. The one bone, I guess, disappointment is that which support power she has is random, which in sealed, you really need to have some control over that. There's going to be situations where you roll the one you don't need. So you're going to have to keep that in mind when you position her. She's definitely, rewards players who have the skill to create situations where it doesn't matter which option she gets. But it's something you got to keep in mind when you're using her. She's a little more finesse than your typical support figure.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's a 3 for both constructed and sealed. I think in sealed, the tarot trait is not going to really do much for you. But she kind of reminds me of, like, from the Disney Plus set, Darcy Lewis. Except for Darcy Lewis was 25 points and had both perplex and outwit. But they both have stealth and they both have those particular support powers. So, I think Tarot's great. I think she's a great figure. So, and I think she will be used in constructed because tarot cards are definitely going to become a thing.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at the next uncommon, which is Mystique, set number 25. This is the Danger Room Construct version of Mystique. She's 25 points. She's got the Brotherhood of Mutants team ability, 0 range with a single target. She has 8 speed with plasticity, 11 attack with precision strike, 17 defense with super senses, 1 damage with shape change. She has the Brotherhood of Mutants and robot keywords. Her Danger Room Construct trait, which is pretty much the same for all of the Danger Room constructs, is when Mystique makes an attack, give her an error token for each 1 in the attack roll, maximum 3. If Mystique has 2 or less error tokens, characters take a maximum of 1 damage from Mystique's attacks, and Mystique takes a maximum of 1 damage from opponents' attacks, and she can't be healed or chosen for Mastermind. And that power is Protected Pulse Wave. So, or that ability is Protected Pulse Wave. And then her second trait is Lessons from the Danger Room Mystique. When Mystique is KO'd by an opposing character this game, when that character makes an attack, other characters can't use shape change. So I think for all the Danger Room constructs, when they're KO'd, they give something good to the opponent. Brian, what do you think about Mystique here?
3-star, sealed and constructed. In the past, we've seen in the past, the Danger Room constructs perform exceptionally well, and I don't think Mystique here is any exception. She is quite possibly in the single greatest tie-up figure we've ever printed in the game. Definitely consideration there. You run her up to someone, that plasticity locks him down. She's got super senses and shape change to avoid attacks, keep from getting hit. And then even if you do manage to connect with her, she's only going to take 1. You have to hit her 3 times through the double evasion. And meanwhile, if she's sitting there, she can just chip away with precision strike, just do that little bits of damage bit by bit. She'll more than earn her points. The lessons is a bit of a shame, but especially in sealed, you're probably not swimming in shape change on your figures anyway. So even if they do get her and they get the bonus, it doesn't really do much for them.
Yeah, Kenny, what do you think?
I have nothing else to add. This character's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. You pull her, you're playing her. Like I've been saying, the uncommon slot, you want a little more oomph, here's the exception. You pull her, she is slowing the game down for you. You figure out what your biggest threat is. You put her in front of that threat, and you just, smirk and say hi. And that's it. That's taken care of. Or at least slow down so the rest of your team can do whatever it needs to do for 25 points. What more can you really add? Oh, Brother of Mutants. So she rolls really well. She can keep on attacking. Yay. I'm not sure what else I can really add here. So, yeah, you pull her, you play her, and she probably will see play and constructed. So 3 triple espresso all the way, every way. Yeah.
Yep, I completely agreed with both of you. I think she's, like Brian said, the one of the best tie-up pieces I've ever seen. So 3s all around for Mystique, Danger Room Construct Mystique. Let's take a look at the next figure, which is Sebastian Shaw, also a Danger Room Construct. He is 30 points. He's got the Underworld team ability, 0 range with a single target, 6 speed with leap climb, 9 attack with super strength, 16 defense with willpower, 2 damage with enhancement, Hellfire Club, and robot keywords. He has that same Danger Room construct that we just spoke about, and he also has a Lessons from the Danger Room trait, Sebastian Shaw. When Sebastian Shaw is KO'd by an opposing character this game, when that character is targeted by an attack, the attacker can't positively modify their combat values. So, Kenny, what do you think of Sebastian Shaw here?
I really, really like Sebastian Shaw a lot. Almost as much as I like Mystique. But practically speaking, he is going to be harder to utilize than Mystique. I love that he upscales his combat values, which is very comic accurate, regardless if it's a construct or not. But his problem is it's going to be hard to have people stay in front of him, which Mystique doesn't have that problem. If you pull 2 boosters and your 2 uncommons are these 2, you're great. I mean, you win. So that's Sebastian Shaw's problem, unfortunately. He's a good tank and all that. It's going to take a lot of hits to get to him. I'm going to give him a double espresso and sealed, even though I feel like he'll perform at a triple espresso, just because it's going to be hard to really get people to pay attention to him. And with only 6 lead climb, it's going to be easy for people to ignore him, unlike Mystique. In Constructed, I think we might see a slight resurgence in Danger Room Construct teams like we did before. So I probably will give him a triple espresso in Constructed. He probably will see play one way or another. There's, these Danger Room Construct things, they were good in the past. They kind of fell off a little bit, but they were there for a while. These 2 might help them elevate and bring them back up again. Also, you can mix and match with robots. So if you want to play Sentinels, who are also robots, you can throw these guys on as well.
Yep. In agreement with Kenny there. For Sealed, he's going to feel a lot like just a budget Mystique, where he's going to be a tie-up figure that's just going to annoy your opponent, but he's just doesn't do it as well as Mystique does. In Constructed, though, I think he'll really shine. That Underworld team ability he has really makes a difference. That's a cheap taxi for robots. Even if his speed isn't great, it still is a wildcard ability. We've seen a lot of Underworld getting wildcarded lately. That's really helps define teams, and he's a new cheap source of it that doesn't drop easily. Definitely looking forward to see if he starts cropping up in Constructed more with the other Hellfire Club, Danger Room constructs.
He might make Hellfire Club too.
He's
might. Good enough.
He might. Yeah. He's good.
Yeah, I mean, I think for Sealed he's a 3 because he's a great tie-up piece, not as good as Mystique, but he's still really good. And then also for Constructed, I'd put him at a 2, and I think it remains to be seen how he's used on robot teams and stuff like that.
Yep.
All right, so let's take a look at Omega Sentinel. Omega Sentinel is 50 points. She's set number 27 from the uncommons. She's got the police team ability. She's got 5 range with 2 targets, 8 speed with running shot, 11 attack with energy explosion, 17 defense with toughness, 3 damage with energy shield. No, sorry, 3 damage with enhancement. And her keywords are detective, future, police, robot, and sentinel. She has improved targeting, elevated, and hindering. And she's got a rally trait. Rally 1 for friendly attack rolls. So if you roll a 1, you add that rally dice. And then free, remove one of Omega Sentinel's rally die to choose a friendly character within range. The chosen character has PD team ability until your next turn. Brian, what do you think about Omega Sentinel here?
Probably give for a 1.5, maybe 2 for Sealed. Constructed, I don't think she's seeing play. Maybe with a Master Mold, but probably a Herbal Tea there. The rally is interesting. Definitely something that could see some play in Sealed. She's a decent range attacker that also helps your team be better at range attacks. Very much a team player figure.
Kenny?
So yeah, she's the same point cost as the Fury, who's kind of filling the same role with almost the same keywords. So she's not really outshining him, but she does bring something to the table that he doesn't do, like the improved targeting, enhancement, and the rally. So I think I would give her a double. She is a little fragile. It's not a very strong double, so maybe I'll go down to 1.5 when it comes to Sealed. But running shot, EE, and enhancement, those aren't bad powers to have. The 5 range, not 6, so that does hurt her. But we have our boy Peeper, who can help us out there with more speed and more shield. But already you can see why she's probably 1.5, because if we're pulling her, we're already talking about how to make her better. So unlike some other characters that we just saw, That's why her rating's a little bit lower, even though she's not, if you look at her, she's not awful, but it's harder to maximize her. Constructed, as much as I love, giving love to Sentinel teams and what can happen here and there with Recruiter and all that stuff, I'll give her a single espresso. You have a limited collection and she's one of the few Sentinels you have. I mean, she's not a terrible option, but chances are she's not going to see much play, even on the sideline.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think she's an herbal tea or maybe a 1 in constructed, but for sealed, I'd give her a 1.5 for those same reasons that you both said. So I kind of agree with both of you. I mean, she's a little squishy. She does have that improved targeting, though, which is really good. She is a team player. She helps out with police team ability and with enhancement. So if she had a little more range, I think she would be better for seal. But she's only got that 5 range, which is not... I mean, it's kind of like average, I guess. Yeah, that's what I think about her. I think I agree with both of you. Let's take a look at Magneto. So our next figure is Magneto, set number 28. He is either 100 points or 30 points. He has the Brotherhood of Mutants team ability. He's 7 range with 2 targets. 10 speed with running shot and flying. That's under his 100-point line. 12 attack with penetrating psychic blast. 18 defense with invincible, and 4 damage. He has the recruiter trait. So the recruiter trait, we saw that before with Cyclops. So that's his only special thing that he has is the recruiter. So Brian, what do you think about Magneto here?
I mean, I can't downplay 12 attack, 4 damage Psy Blast and sealed, especially when it comes paired with a 10 running shot and an 18 invincible. This Magneto is a beast. Easily the sort of figure you can build your team around and have him carry you to victory. I don't think I'm running the low dial unless my other pack is absurd. But I mean, hey, if you pull like a Chase or a super rare that's really good and you need that TK to make it shine, Magneto's got your back there too.
Yeah, I did not mention it. His lower dial has TK and leadership. So.
Mm-hmm. But 9 times out of 10, I think if I'm pulling him, I'm running him at the 100 dial, and I'm going to give him 3 shots for espresso for sealed. Constructed, he's probably up around 2 just for a recruiter being a 30-point recruiter. I think there's something there. I'm looking forward to see if people can figure it out.
Kenny?
So I think he's a single. I don't see the Brotherhood stuff in Constructed, but this is one of those situations where I would be happy to be proven wrong and say, oh, I was wrong. Look at that, because it would be great to see be utilized. So the same reasons why I like Gorgon, because he just brought stats to the table, and as a melee figure, 65 points. The same thing I'm going to do with Magneto here for 100 points with range capability, also 7 range double bolt. So we've been talking about range. There's only one other character with 7. Now this is the second character with 7. Everyone else was either 6 or less. He has invincible. We've only seen a few characters that have outwit in the common and uncommon slot, which means you're not going to see it all that often, because those are the characters that are most commonly pulled. So he's a brick. He's going to hurt you. He does it very well. It hurts that he's not X-Men. He doesn't theme with X-Men TA. I'm sorry, that doesn't matter. It hurts that he doesn't have the X-Men team ability. So that way, if he does get hurt, you can heal him back up. If you pull Colossus with support S3, that's a whole different story. This Magneto is going to be really hard to take down if you could just keep him topped out and fresh. Triple espresso and sealed. You pull him, go blast people away as much as you can, and hope you roll 10 to 12 with that Brothers of Mutants, so that way you can continue to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with both of you. I think for sealed, he's a triple espresso, 3 solid 3 for 100 points. And for constructed, I would say he's like a 1.5 or possibly a 2 if he could be utilized for that recruiter for the Brotherhood at the 30-point line. So I think, you know, both. He's a good figure. So let's take a look at Jean Grey, which is the next uncommon figure in the set. She's set number 29. She's 35 points. She's got the X-Men team ability, 5 range with single target. She's flying. She's got 8 speed with stealth, 10 attack with telekinesis, 17 defense with barrier, 2 damage with leadership. She's got the Phoenix Force, X Factor, X Force, and X-Men keywords. And she has a trait, seeing enemy threats and power. When Jean Grey is targeted by an attack after resolutions, you may place her adjacent to a friendly character within range. Kenny, what do you think about Jean Grey here?
So, we didn't mention this with the last figure. That was our first time seeing telekinesis in this set at the uncommon slot. Here's the second time. I think Jean Grey is the better fit here for TK for the reasons Brian stated with Magneto, why you wouldn't want to. But if you had to, you could. For 5 extra points, you are getting 2 powers that Magneto brings at 30, TK and leadership, top of barrier, top of stealth, traded in power, and something we haven't seen before, almost like an escapability kind of trait where she gets targeted by attack and she just go hides behind someone, which she wants to be with because she has leadership and power and TK. So being able to reposition yourself just because you got targeted, that's pretty snazzy. For 35 points, triple shot, easy. When it comes to sealed, for constructed, I'll probably give it a double. I can see why people wouldn't want to play her because usually in constructed you're looking for some really out there abilities and traits. In tandem with other things, and like this is good, but is it good enough? Or will people think it's good enough? I think it's good enough, but will people think it's good enough? That remains to be seen. So I'm going to keep it tepid with a double espresso when it comes to constructed.
Yeah, easy triple for sealed for me as well, just like Kenny said. It's worth noting that she only needs to be targeted by an attack. The attack doesn't need to hit, and she just poofs. Yeah. Unless your opponent is either hitting her with flurry or has the forward damage coming in, they're not going to be able to line up 2 shots on her in succession. She's going to disappear. She's going to go somewhere where they can't get the second hit on her to KO her, and they got to work for those points.
But if they do hit her for, let's say, 4 damage, she's dead, right?
Right. Correct. Yeah. They either need flurry so they can get the 2 attacks in before actions resolve, or they need 4 or more damage.
Or they find a way to make sure she's not within range of anyone else, which is really hard to do. Yeah.
If she's the last person on your team. For constructed though, I'm thinking I'm gonna have to give her a 1 shot. She isn't bad. She, especially if you're like looking at this for like a local area type thing. But Venom Magneto does exactly what she does, but so much better, and in the same keywords. It's just she's gonna be overshadowed for constructed.
Yeah, I think she's like a 1 in constructed, just because there's better options. But she's a good figure all around for her, just in her own right. And I think she's a 3 in sealed for sure. I think TK is just such an important power in sealed. Also, you can bury her if you need to. And then that leadership and then that extra trait that you guys mentioned. Yeah, she's very good in sealed. All right, so let's take a look at the next figure in... Okay, so is this... Yep, this is the last uncommon in the set. So
this is the last uncommon, yeah.
So let's take a look at him. This is set number 30, Bishop. He comes in at either 80 or 35 points. He's got the police team ability, X-Men team ability, 6 range with single target, 8 speed with running shot, 12 attack, 18 defense with toughness, 3 damage with outwit, detective, future, Hellfire Club, Marauders, pirate, police, X-Force, and X-Men keywords. He's got the Great Captain of Krakoa trait, which we saw earlier. Leadership, when Bishop uses it and succeeds this turn, friendly characters that have X-Men team ability may use it as free. He also has a trait, you've taken your best shot, now it's my turn. Free if Bishop took damage since your last turn. Heal him 1 click. And this turn he can use Range Combat Expert. So, Brian, what do you think about Bishop here?
Well, he gives you a cheap source of outwit in sealed. That's an easily triple shot for me. I'm not sure if I love his 80-point dial. It's not bad. It's just you probably have better options even in sealed. The second trait, where it gives him the range combat expert, is neat, but your opponent could just base him and then deny the bonus from that. So not bad. Triple shot for sealed, especially mostly because of the 35-point line. For constructed, I don't think he's going to be seeing play. That's a purple T for me.
Kenny?
I agree with constructed. You won't see play. I think in sealed, again, we're looking at raw values. If at least I have been very high on the 12 attack values when it came to Gorgon and Magneto. Chances are you're not going to pull all 3 or even 2 of them. So if you pull this guy as your uncommon with those stats for 80 points, it's definitely worth considering, assuming your rares and super rares are not something much more amazing. But the fact that you will see him more often than those rares and super rares, you have to pay attention and figure out, this is a good figure for what he's doing and for how frequently you would see him depending on how many seals you play. What I do like about him is we did talk about briefly the lack of outwit when it came to uncommons and commons. This is probably the 4th source out of 30 figures. And these 30 figures are the ones you will see most often than not. So, just having outwit alone is worth triple espresso. The fact that he's a rare commodity in that slot just elevates him that much more. You've taken your best shot. If you took damage since your last turn, Brian, correct me if I'm wrong here. If I use the X-Men team ability and I don't roll the number I need, did I take damage?
That is correct.
So I would then heal 1, and I can use range combat X-Men the next turn.
Also correct.
He finds a way to mitigate, the one weakness of X-Men, and he does it pretty damn well. Brian did say you could base him, and you can't really use it. Fair point. But I think that's a pretty cool, nifty trick that people might not look at. Of all the great captains we saw, I think Bishop's the best one. Definitely triple espresso, but also royalty and constructed. He really just shines in sealed. So have fun with him for the first month of play, but then after that, you'll probably never see him again.
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with Kenny on this one. I really like Bishop and sealed. He's got the police team ability on top of that, which is great. He's got great attack values all throughout. He's also got outwit entirely throughout. So, just having that 12 or even 11 attack and 3 damage with outwit and reducers. And he's got leadership. He's got a lot going on for him. Decent range. He's like Kenny said, there's not that much outwit in the set, so I think that's gonna go a long way. Even if you do base him, I think he can, kind of fight back because he's got
12-3, yeah.
He's got outwit. He's still, yeah. I like him. I like Bishop. So that, everybody at home, that's been our uncommons. You've been watching Coffee and Clicks. So now we're going to get into the rares. First, let's go over the grading scale one more time. The grading scale for this set review for Marvel HeroClix X-Men X of Swords is triple espresso, which is top tier figures, double espresso, which is second tier figures, single espresso, which are not really impressive figures, and herbal tea, which are the very bottom of the rung figures. 3, 2, 1, or 0 grading scale. We're joined by Brian Galley and Kenny Pena, and we're gonna jump right in, and let's take a look at the first rare from the X-Men X of Swords set, and that is Iska the Unbeaten. Iska the Unbeaten is set number 31A. She's 70 points. She's got 0 range with single target. She does have the optional 5-point trait for the Sword Bearer, which says that this character starts the game with any sword equipment equipped. She's got 10 speed with charge, 11 attack, 18 defense with invulnerable, 3 damage with shape change. She has a damage power. I think that's a trait, actually. I think that's supposed to be a trait. The first time Iska the Unbeaten would be KO'd, instead turn her to her last non-KO click, then roll a d6 and heal her equal to half the result. Protected Pulse Wave. Kenny, what do you think about Iska the Unbeaten here?
I do like Iska the Unbeaten here. She's a unique character in the comic, so I see what they were trying to do here. As far as accuracy-wise, where she just has extra longevity. That second trait essentially is kind of like a stop click with a minor heal. The better you roll, the more you heal. 70 points, decent length, good, decent values. We've seen these values in uncommons and commons, and I feel like it's better served to pull them there. If she was an uncommon, I think I would give her a triple espresso, but as a rare, she's probably a double espresso, maybe a little bit less than that. The values hold up. She doesn't have outward protection. She's not very fancy or snazzy. She's just going to be there, and she's going to take hits. And if you get your sword, great. You might get blades. You might be able to use one of the effects. But is that enough from your rare slot? Is it enough? Maybe. It's not your ideal situation. For constructed, yikes, I just don't see how you really use this figure unless you want to have a fun time, in your 400, 500 point, theme night. She's probably just going to be an herbal tea when it comes to constructed.
I think it's important to also note, I think she does come with a sword.
She's one that generally comes with Mercy, which is Blades, Claws, Fangs, and once per turn, when this character is attacked, you may re-roll the attack.
Okay, so that's probish.
The
sword is a triple espresso. So if she comes with that sword and you pull her, great. That does make her better, but I'm not gonna lie. I might be considering the other commons and uncommons that have sword bearer trait and give it to them because she's not really doing much else for all the other things I've said. So, I think I'll stick to my double espresso when it comes to sealed, and again, she's herbal tea when it comes to constructed.
Yeah, agree with Kenny. I see her odds are I'm going to look at my other sword bearers and see if one of them is maybe worth the protection that sword can give. But she's not bad. She's just nothing special, really. Double shot for sealed, herbal tea for constructed.
Okay, yeah, I think she might be like a 1.5 or a 2 in sealed. I mean, 2 in sealed just because she comes with the equipment and she's got that going for her. She's essentially like a charge piece for 75 points. She's good, and I think definitely constructed she's herbal tea for sure. So herbal tea and a 2 for sealed, 2 for sealed. I agree with both of you. It's also worth noting, like the uniqueness of her character in the comics. I believe Iska the Unbeaten is always on the side that wins, right? That's like her mutant power.
She wins. No matter what, she wins.
Even if it's unknowing to her, she just wins.
Yeah. You can play rock, paper, scissors, she just guesses right every time.
So
there was an actual name of the mutant power that she has. I can't remember. It was like
psychokinesis.
There we go. Yeah. So I'm not sure if that was a made-up word or if that word actually existed. I'm not sure what came first, but that's just fun, trivial knowledge.
Yeah.
All right. So I mean, she does have a counterpart. She has a prime counterpart. So the next in the rares is Iska the Unbeaten Prime, set number 31B. She's 45 points. She's got the team player, team ability, 0 range with a single target, 10 speed with charge, 11 attack with precision strike, 18 defense with invincible, 3 damage with exploit weakness. She also comes with that mercy equipment that we looked at. She does come with that equipped as well in the pack. You can pay an extra 5 points for her trait to make her 50 points instead of 45. She does have a stop click. Her defense power on her stop click is stop, toughness, super senses, and when she uses it, increase the result by +1 for each 4 in the attack roll. And then also she's got a rally, and it says rally 4 for all attack rolls, yours and your opponent's, whenever anybody rolls a 4. Free, when Iska the Unbeaten attacks or is attacked, you may remove one of her rally dice to replace a d6 in the attack roll. If you do, she can't gain rally dice this turn, which is so that you don't have like infinite loops and stuff like that. And then the rest of the power states, Iska the Unbeaten's rolls of double 4 are critical hits. So, Kenny, what do you think about Iska the Unbeaten Prime here?
Oh man, it's beautiful. Definitely Prime worthy. If we like the first Iska, but at a rare slot she wasn't fulfilling that role, this Iska brings the slack in more. You pull this rare and you play decently enough with her, surround her with the right support, and stack your rallies, which are all attack rolls with 4, by the way, so it's not going to be that difficult. I'm not going to say it's unkillable, but you have such a huge advantage. Her weakness will be outwit, but there isn't a lot of outwit. Also, if there is outwit, there's not going to be a lot of it to go kill, which she does a very good job of. She is the type of figure that if you pull, she can win you your seal. That's how good she is. Quadruple espresso. Give me 2 servings of her. I know she's a prime, so you can't do that. But if she could, that's the way to go. When it comes to constructed, she's fantastic, but she's a prime, and primes are so competitive for a lot of keywords and a lot of different builds. When we're looking into X-Men, we're talking about Mimic, and we're talking about, I guess Destroyer, because you could put them on any team build. So I don't know if she's good enough to make back cut, but she's definitely worth consideration. I will say 1.5 because I just can't put the words in the same sentence of herbal tea and her, because she's never worth that. So, but I can see a world where other people just don't rank her as high because of other primes, and I respect that. But for sealed, you play her, you pull her, you play her, go win. And if you didn't win, really bad things happen to you. I'm sorry, but she should be able to get you that win.
Yeah, Brian?
Yeah, full agreement. It's worth noting that when she does the die replacement, she can't gain rally dice for that turn, not just that attack roll. So you do want to just keep that in mind. Sometimes it's not worth going fishing for the the miss right off the bat with the forward placement on the opponent's attack roll. But yeah, like we were saying with the non-prime, we might give her sword to someone else. Prime Iska gets her sword. You want to be fishing for those rolls, just either for the low rolls to avoid her getting hit, or the rolls with 4s so that she can stock up and then do her die replacement shenanigans. This is a amazingly solid figure through and through.
Team player, so give her X-Men TA, and would you look at that? This is an X-Men set, even more healing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hits the stop and just ups right back off again.
Yeah, I would say 3s all around. Maybe in constructed, maybe a 2, because there are so many other figures competing for that prime slot. There's so many different choices, because remember, if you're playing a prime, you can only play 1 prime on your main force, or on your team, period. So yeah, but in sealed, she's amazing, so definitely a 3. Okay, let's take a look. I just want to stop and say, by the way, anybody watching at home or listening, don't forget to subscribe. I really appreciate it. I hope you're enjoying this set review. Right now we're doing the rares for Marvel HeroClix X-Men X of Swords, and we're going to continue doing the super rares and the chases, so stay tuned for that. But don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and let's keep going. So after Iska the Unbeaten, we have Wolverine. So Wolverine is set number 32. He is a rare. Number 55 points, but he does come with that 5-point sword bearer trait, so he could be 60 points. He's got the X-Men team ability, 0 range with a single target. He also does come in the pack with the Muramasa blade as his equipment. So if you pull him, you will pull that Muramasa blade. He's
Generally
got,
speaking.
yeah, generally speaking.
Yeah. There are no guarantees.
There's no guarantees. Yeah. So 12 speed with charge, 12 attack, 18 defense with invulnerable, and 3 damage with leadership. Okay. He's got martial artist, mystical, X-Force, and X-Men keywords. He's improved movement characters, and he has a trait, returning from hell over and over again. When Wolverine would be KO'd by an opposing effect, instead, don't stop turning the dial and keep turning it for the damage taken up to click 12, then place him on his card. At the beginning of your turn, if Wolverine is on his card, heal him 1 click. If click number 5 is revealed, your opponent places him within 4 squares of a friendly character. If no other friendly characters on the map share a keyword with Wolverine while he is on his card, KO him. Protected Pulse Wave. And it's worth noting that on click 5 he does have regen, so he can heal up once he gets placed on click 5. So Brian, what do you think about this Wolverine here?
Probably a 2 shot for sealed. Values are decent. He doesn't give up points when he's KO'd unless your opponent can sweep your field, which is really nice. But I don't think he's amazing. He's not going to win you games on his own. He's just a solid attacker that doesn't drop easy. Constructed, though, I think he might be a 3 shot. Point denial teams will be able to make use of him much more efficiently than they could in sealed. And yeah, that's something to pay notice to. The Muramasa blade he comes with is a 3 shot in both formats. If you roll high, that's lots of damage. If you roll low, robbing defense powers from the target can just set them up for a really nasty turn.
So the Muramasa blade states, Blaze Claw's Fangs, when this character uses it and rolls a 1 through 3, the hit character can't use defense powers until the beginning of your next turn.
Yeah.
So Kenny, what do you think about Wolverine?
So Muramasa blade is going to be 3-star no matter where you play it. There's no need to continue that conversation anymore. Amazing sword. As much as we like Mercy, Muramasa is also just phenomenal. You roll a 1 to 3, no powers. Roll a 4 through 6. Oh, I did 4 to 6 damage to you. I mean, how can you go wrong? Going to Wolverine, though, I don't like him that much either. He's definitely not bad. I do agree with Brian to a point that can't die teams in Constructed tend to do a little bit better than they do in Sealed. I think he's a 2. I do think it's easy to get him onto like click 9 or 10, dealing amounts of damage. And then you got to wait X amount of turns, pun intended, to get him back to click 5, and sometimes that will never happen. So I'm going to give him a 2 in Constructed. In Sealed, he's kind of annoying. I don't like him nearly as much as I do Iska Prime. He does have a 12 attack with a 12 movement. That's always good. He does bring an amazing sword, and it's harder to control how much damage you do in Sealed. So chances are he'll have an opportunity to revive once or twice. But I think I'm just going to give him a 2 all around when it comes to Sealed and when it comes to Constructed. Worth noting, he has a mystical keyword, so not many times you see Wolverine with the mystical keyword. That seems to be a very popular keyword. So if you're trying to look for a can't die team, you can incorporate that keyword, which is massive at the end of time, whether it's competitive or at home games. So that's something to point out. But all in all, I'm going to give him 2s all around.
For me, I think he's a 2 in Constructed because of the swap that he can possibly be like a don't die choice, I guess. But I mean, for Sealed, I think he's a 3 because I think he brings a lot of offense because you're going to equip him with the Muramasa blade that he comes with, and he also moves through characters, so you can charge with him and you can't really base him because he can like just like charge again because he has improved movement characters. So I think he does a lot of damage because he's got that blades and the he's got charge blades and he's got the no defense power thing with the equipment, which makes him better. But one question about the Muramasa blade. If you hit and you roll a 1 through 3, does the damage for that attack, does the defense power come off before the damage is dealt?
Yeah, it's not an after resolutions effect, so the moment you roll that 1 through 3 to determine the damage you're dealing, defense powers get nixed, and it goes to the damage reduced step of damage calculation. There are no defense powers to reduce damage.
I agree.
Nice. Okay. So let's take a look at the next figure, which is War. War is one of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. He's set number 33. He's 70 points with 4 range, single target. He has the optional Swordbearer trait for 5 extra points. 12 speed with charge and a flyer. 11 attack with special attack power. 18 defense with invulnerable. 4 damage with exploit weakness. He also comes in at 45 if you want to pay 45 points for him. His trait says the first children. At the beginning of the game, if your starting force has 2 or more characters with the Horseman keyword, this game War has Steel Energy, but for close or range attacks. And if a friendly character named Apocalypse, Annihilation, or Genesis is on your force, modify War's attack and defense +1. He also has an attack power, Harnessed Psionic Burst, Quake, and Giant Reach 3. So, Kenny, what do you think about War here?
I like War. I like Magneto, Bishop, and Gorgon at uncommons with these stats. War is bringing it. Now, the cool thing is War doesn't really have a utility side to him, unlike those other characters. So if I'm pulling War and I pull the Gorgon, yeah, I can be greedy and play both of them at 12 attacks at their top dials. But that's when I want to shift those uncommon options into the utility options. War at the rare, he provides what you want. What Iska, the non-prime Iska didn't do, War is doing. That trait is very, very cool. A little hard to pull off, though. Not impossible, though. You could pull 2 Horsemen or one of the chases with that name and just get more stat bonuses. Quake Giant Reach 3 with Exploit, Charge, Wing, and the sword he brings. I'm sorry, what was the sword that he brings again?
Vermilion. Blaze Claw's
Vermilion.
Fangs. When this character uses it, after resolutions, deal 1 damage to each opposing character adjacent to the hit character.
So, not as amazing as Muramasa Blade, but still damn pretty effective. For all those Peeper teams out there that want to have all those people put together, Vermilion, War and Vermilion will slice through that, or whoever you decide to give Vermilion to. So Vermilion, I'm going to go on a limb here because I don't know all the swords off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure all of them are going to be triple espresso. I could be wrong, though. But this one definitely qualifies. I think War is definitely triple espresso. Sealed character play, constructed, at least competitively. I don't know if he's there. I'll probably give him 1.5. For funsies, though, he's going to be amazing. He's going to be a lot of fun to play with. For those horsemen, theme nights or whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, triple for sealed. Go kick some butt.
Yeah, not much to add there. This is another character I might consider giving his sword off to someone else, just because Blades and Quake don't work together, and if I have someone that can make good use of that Vermilion, I might want to just keep him just for that exploit damage Giant Reach 3 Quake, just to punish my opponent's entire team, and then use the other character with the Vermilion to play mop up. But he is really good in sealed.
Yeah.
High values, high penetrating damage, great reach. It's a solid thing to build your character to build your team around.
Agreed.
Constructed, like Kenny said, good for funsy nights. Probably not going to see meta tables.
Yeah, I think there's something fun about taking a 4 damage figure and rolling blades with them.
It's certainly fun. But yeah, I would definitely be tempted to go see someone else paired up with Vermilion give it up to some other charge piece I pulled.
Yeah, but I agree. I think he's going to be really good in sealed, like a 3 in sealed, and also just more for funsies than for constructed.
Yep.
Let's take a look at the next horseman. It's the next rare of the set. Death. Set number 34. He is also 70 points. Comes with the Sword Bearer trait, which would make him 75. 4 range with a single target. 12 speed with charge and flying. 11 attack with a special. 18 defense with invulnerable. 4 damage with outwit, which is different from War, because War had exploit. Death has outwit. Death has a trait, the First Children. At the beginning of the... Well, so we saw this trait before. At the beginning of the game, if your starting force has 2 or more characters with the Horseman keyword, this game, Death has Steel Energy, but with close or range attacks. If a friendly character named Apocalypse, Annihilation, or Genesis is on your force, modify Death's attack and defense by +1. And also an attack power. We shall litter the path with their bodies. When Death damages an opposing character with an attack after resolutions, deal that character 1 unavoidable damage. If that character is not KO'd, immediately heal them 1 click. So very similar to back in the undead gravity feed had characters with that trait, with that power, or something similar. And then what equipment does he come with?
He's got the Black Bone of Amduat. Blades, Claws, Fangs, and when this character uses it, the hit character can't use stop for this attack.
Okay, well then. Kenny, what do you think about Death here?
So I'm gonna let Brian go first because I know how much Brian loves his undead stuff, and this is tapping some undead stuff. So I'm gonna let him go first.
Warming the cockles of my shriveled heart. The I gotta love that dealing unavoidable damage if they're not immediately healed in 1 click. It's so much fun. Just get that little bit of ping and back. We saw characters that can trigger off of things being healed. Oh no, that was just sync. Never mind. I'm thinking of someone else. But yeah, it's getting that extra little ping of damage can make all the difference. The I don't think I like him as much as I like War. Exploit, I think, will generally do you better on your charge figure than Outwit will, but it's still Outwit and Sealed, which is a fantastic thing to have. His sword is probably only a 1 shot for a sealed play, though, just because there's not a ton of stop clicks. It's not a bad option to have it, but generally speaking, you're only using it just for the blades. Constructed, though, that sword is really pretty good because sealed stop tends to show up a lot in constructed. Death, though, is probably falling back into the same maybe for funsy nights, but otherwise herbal tea that War does.
Kenny?
Rambled a bit.
You deserve the ramble. I know how much you like that kind of stuff.
I love that effect so much.
Yeah. Surprised you rated it as low as you did. This is the 5th figure without wit in this set. That already makes it that much more important. And it comes on a figure that is very offensive. Now, I do agree with Brian. Obviously, when I think of charge, I definitely want exploit more than that, but it ain't too bad either. That being said, yeah, there's only 2 stop click characters that we've seen so far in this set, so the secondary effect of that equipment, not the most useful. I would say it's a double espresso because guess what? At the end of the day, it's still Blades, Claws, Fangs. So I could give Magik Blades, Claws, Fangs, regardless of what sword it is. That's still an upgrade to me. But I also agree with everything else you just said. With Constructed, it's most likely a funsy night. There's not much to do there. The sword in Constructed, that's especially with that Jim Jaspers guy. We'll get to them eventually.
Oh, shit.
I think he'll really make use of that sword. So I do agree that I do like War a little bit better than Death, but because Outwit is not very prevalent so far, that does make death a little bit, it gives him that much, a little bit more importance. So I will say 2.5 stars, just a shy under war. If you pull both of them, God bless you. Have fun with that trait.
Yeah,
But if you pull death and not war, you're not in a bad spot either.
Yeah, I don't think I'd ever run war at the low dial, but death I definitely considered low dial, the 45 line, just because of the outwit.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, and it's worth noting, I mean, this is something to look out for because it says if a friendly character named Apocalypse, Annihilation, or Genesis is on your force. I mean, have we gotten a Genesis in HeroClix yet? Or, I don't know, it might be,
There's a Cable Sun Genesis from Deadpool and X-Force set. But I think they're referring to Apocalypse's wife, who is, I think she's a Chase, or she might be in the storyline. She's coming. I know I've seen her somewhere.
She's not in this set, wink.
Oh, okay. Annihilation's in this set. That's what it is. Yeah.
All right, so let's take a look at after
Speaking of the devil.
After death.
Yep.
So we have the next figure is Apocalypse. Okay, but this is the Danger Room Apocalypse. So actually, you could play him with War and Death and get the bonus from that trait.
I mean, if your two rares were Apocalypse and War or Death, I mean, congratulations.
So
not often we highlight rares being such a good pull, but here we are.
So okay, so Apocalypse at set number 35. He is a rare unique. 60 points, cosmic energy, team ability, 6 range with single target, 8 speed with phasing teleport and flying, 11 attack with penetrating psychic blast, 18 defense with toughness, 3 damage with outwit. He has the Danger Room construct trait, which we saw before. He has another trait, Lessons from the Danger Room, Apocalypse. If Apocalypse is KO'd by an opposing character, for the rest of the game, that character can use cosmic energy. Okay, so that's if he gets KO'd. And then also he's got a rally trait. So the rally trait is rally 6, opposing attack roll. So if they roll a 6, then you put the rally dice on. At the beginning of your turn, you may remove one of Apocalypse's rally dice. If you do, give a friendly character that can use the Danger Room construct trait an error token, and they gain colossal size until your next turn. So you can remove those Danger Room add those error tokens and potentially make your Danger Room construct into a real human, I guess.
No.
Yeah. It gets you those error tokens quickly if you want your Danger Room constructs to be dishing out full damage. More importantly, for Colossus, it will make him Apocalypse. It'll make him colossal, giving him the ability to shoot over everyone, see over everyone for that outwit, that side blast. It's very useful. And I mean, the downside to Colossals, they're easier to target, but hey, they're Danger Room constructs. They only take one at a time. For Sealed, I'd probably give this guy 3 shots. He's cheap. He can dish out, so even if it's just little pings of damage, it ain't bad, and it's outwit. Constructed, he might be 3 shots too, just for the rally effects, enabling the Danger Room constructs to really break out and start dishing out damage once they're in position.
Yeah, I mean, I have visions of like Silver Age with him and like all of the previous Danger Room constructs, and just playing them all. Like
Colossal Sinestro, yes.
No.
Kenny, what are your thoughts on Apocalypse?
I like this Apocalypse a lot. My one bugaboo is that he only has toughness, and yes, you got to hit him 5 times unless he removes all his error tokens. But compared to Mystique, how difficult she is, and Sebastian Shaw, the point value that he's coming in for. So Sebastian Shaw's 30 points, one less click, while Apocalypse is 5 clicks deep at 60 points. That's double the cost. Now, granted, APOC is bringing more to the table, especially to that team synergy. But when we're talking about sealed, chances are you're not going to have all of them at once. So I think that hurts him a little bit. That being said, he does bring offense, like you said. He does bring Outwit, and you know how much Outwit. This is the 6th time we've seen Outwit in this set, and this is figure number 35, and we've seen a prime, so 36 figures. That's 1 out of 6 so far appearance rate.
Nothing safeguard Outwit yet either. It's
well, he does, but
true.
And that's another cool thing about him. He does have cosmic energy, so he has the opportunity to pull tokens off of himself to keep on going. And with Psyblast and Outwit, even if it's only 1, that matters a lot. I'm going to give him a 2.5. I can't get over the fact that he only has toughness and he's that easy to hit. But other than that, I mean, you take the good with the bad, and the good here is that you got to hit him 5 times. Also, he turns into an exploit machine afterwards, so he has a source of penetrating damage one way or the other. For constructed, most likely a 3 if you want to play him with all the Danger Room constructs, if you want to play him with the old school Danger Room constructs. I think I did the math a while ago. I think they all add up to 300 if you got the old ones and the new ones, which I think is phenomenal. Nice. So that's my rating for Apocalypse there.
Yeah, one thing worth pointing out rules-wise, with the way timing works out, if he makes something colossal, they are not going to be able to roll the giant-sized willpower bonus. Unfortunately, they'll miss the trigger and they'll lose colossal before the next turn trigger comes around again. Just worth keeping in mind, you won't get the super willpower.
Okay.
Really more of an offensive thing then, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing, I think this figure is good all around. I mean, even with the phase teleport, right, he doesn't really have move and attack or anything like that, but he can easily get around that because you put him in position and you just kind of like stick him there where you need him, and also he can carry somebody because he's got a phase teleport and he's flying. So,
does he fly? I don't think he's boot. I mean, he could go colossal and carry them for being smaller, but
I don't know. It says flying on Nexus here.
I do see the wing symbol as well.
Okay. No, I'm looking at HC Realm, so they got a mistake on there then. Oops.
I mean, that would make him way better if he's flying too. So
yeah.
All right,
I agree.
So let's take a look at the next figure, which is Juggernaut, also a Danger Room construct. Danger Room construct set number 36. He is 50 points. He's got the Brotherhood of Mutants team ability, 0 range with a single target, 8 speed with a special, 11 attack with Quake, 18 defense with Invincible, and 3 damage with Empower. He does move through and destroys blocking with his improved movement. He has the Danger Room construct trait, which we saw. He has the lessons from the Danger Room trait, which says if Juggernaut is KO'd by an opposing character for the rest of the game, that character can use invulnerability. And his special speed power is Leap Climb. When Juggernaut is given a move action after resolutions, he may make a close attack. Brian, what are your thoughts on Juggernaut here?
Well, this is the first Danger Room construct that the KO effect really matters. Apocalypse hurt, but Juggernaut is... he drops. That said, he does destroy blocking when he moves. He's got 8 movement, and he gets to make an attack when he's done moving, which could well be the Quake to just ping everyone around him for the 1 and knock him back. I think he's definitely worth running, but you do need to keep an eye on how many attacks your opponent can line up on him and get him out of dodge if they're getting him low. I'd probably give him 2 stars for sealed and constructed, where I think penetrating damage is a little easier to come by. He's probably a 3.
Yeah, Kenny, what do you think?
I think in constructed we could all agree these are going to see play one way or another. Even if they don't see play, they deserve to see play. They had that potential. So easy 3, triple espresso. I'm going to go a little bit higher in sealed because, again, we've talked about Outwit not being a prevalent thing as much. And when you do see it, the characters that were bringing it, they tend to be a little bit squishy, especially with the common and uncommon ones. And Juggernaut here is only 50 points, so being able to take those out, it's not going to be too difficult. He has Invincible as well, so you can't penetrate, you can't exploit through it. You're going to have to hit him twice to get him off that if you're able to quell the outwit threats. So I do think he's a 3 here. He also brings in power, so even if you don't pull his Danger Room Construct buddies, he is still finding a way to play nice with others. Again, full movement charge. I guess it's not full movement charge. Full movement leap, climb, and attack, especially into Quake. There's a lot going on here. He's one of our first characters that destroys terrain. There wasn't all that much barrier. I think the only barrier figure we saw was Jean Grey. So I know in later rarities we'll see more barrier, but we'll get there when we get there. But Juggernaut has an answer to that. I just also want to say that, when it comes, I don't know if you've seen this guy's character card, the Magik. He is loaded with flavor text from Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and other fighting games. The Empower is the assist from the Marvel vs. Capcom 2. If you pick him as a character and he comes in assist, it's the actual title of the assist that you pick. There's so much fun and flavor thrown into this figure, and for those people who like that kind of stuff, like I do, it's a lot of fun. And on top of that, he's just good on the map as well. So I'm going to give 3 stars all around to the Juggernaut.
Yeah, I think 3 stars all around for me too. I think 50 points. With the Empower and also the fact that he destroys blocking. So if you do get put on a map that is annoying to you, is in sealed, and I'm actually drinking herbal tea too. Shh, don't tell anyone. It's actually late at night right now while we're recording. Juggernaut. He's gonna be a 3 for me all around. Let's take a look at the next figure, which is Rogue, set number 37A. Rogue is 60 points, 0 range with single target. Now, she starts on click 4, so I'll read her click 4 of her dial, because she is one of those vampire dials where she heals off of her first click. Her first click is on click 4. So she's got 10 speed with charge, 11 attack with Quake, 18 defense with invulnerable, 3 damage with close combat expert. She has a trait, How About a Kiss Sugar. Rogue starts the game on click 4. Steal energy. When she uses it, she may heal past her starting line. That type of trait is very common among characters that drain energy from other characters in the comics. She later, when she does heal up, she has a speed power that says Charge and Flurry, and she also gets a defense power that says Invincible and Willpower. She's got the Brotherhood of Mutants, Excalibur, and X-Men keywords. Kenny, what do you think about Rogue here?
Triple shot, easy sealed. That is a really good dial. All you need is one hit. Sometimes with these vampire figures, you need 1 or 2. You don't get the reward right away. She gives it to you right off the bat. She's not playing games. She's taking her gloves off, and she's doing all the fun stuff. Close combat expert for 6 clicks. Granted, you are 3 in, but that's a 12-4 for 60 points. 10 charge. Yikes. That hurts. Steal energy, so even if she can't get to her, you can't pass her vampire dial. If things go wrong, she has opportunity to heal back up, and she has late end flurry. So she's going to be a hardy figure to put down, and she's a fraction of what your cost should be, especially at a rare. She's definitely a triple espresso all the way. In constructed, she's probably a 2. She's probably a double. I can see if recruiter shenanigans happen with Cyclops, she's a fantastic candidate for it. If that's a way you want to go, will that happen? I don't know, but I like to think that if it is possible, she will do it. But for now, double in constructed, triple in sealed.
And Brian?
Full agree. I mentioned before with Magneto that probably want to run his 100-point line over the, was it 35 for the TK? Rogue, something that might make me look at the TK line just to be able to get her in there and get that first hit off to get her onto the good clicks. You position her right, you keep your opponent from getting a couple of retaliatory shots in, and she could win you the game once she starts healing up to those low number clicks. Constructed, yeah, I agree. She's probably not going to see terribly much play.
Yeah, I mean, I think in Constructed, I don't think she's going to see much play, but she could with the Recruiter. That is pretty potent, what Kenny mentioned. I think in Sealed, she's definitely a 3. You just need to get that one hit off, and she gets that charge flurry with the 12 attack, 4 damage with the close combat expert. That's like a possible 8 damage right there. That's really good. And you know, she has Quake if you want to use that, and then she keeps healing up and gets even stronger and stronger. So yeah, a really solid figure. Let's take a look at her Prime counterpart. Set number 37B, Captain Britain Rogue, who comes in at either 100 or 50 points. And she is, for 100 points, she is X-Men team ability, 6 range with single target, 12 speed with flying and with a special power, 12 attack with Quake, 18 defense with Invincible, and 4 damage with a special power. She has a trait, Excalibur Mystical Protectors, Mystics, but only during range attacks. Captain Britain Rogue has Safeguard Mystics. I think there was a trait like this in the House of X set as well. There are other characters from previous sets that have the same trait. Her speed power is offered the Amulet of Right, Charge Flurry. When Captain Britain Rogue hits after your next turn, she has friendly characters within range that she shares a keyword with have Safeguard Outwit. That would include herself. And then she has later on in her dial, she gets an attack power, Precision Strike, and Steel Energy. And her damage power that she starts with is Perplex and Enhancement. Brian, why don't you tell us what you think about Captain Britain Rogue?
We know her damage special is Perplex Enhancement, but there's not a click on her that doesn't have Perplex, and Perplex is phenomenal in Sealed. She's an easy 3-star. She's got the high values. She's got great defenses. She's got Perplex to support your team. The speed specials, Safeguard Outwit granting, is nice, but in Sealed probably not the biggest deal. But it's Charge Flurry with high attack, high damage. This is a brick you can build your team around. For Constructed, though, Excalibur hasn't really been seeing much play, so I doubt this is going to be the figure that propels that to the spotlight. I think she's a Herbal Tea.
Kenny?
I agree. In Seal, she's a 3-star play. We saw Iska. She's a wonderful rare prime. Here's another one. Funny enough, I think Iska does great against the set that we've seen so far. Captain Britain Rogue does great against Iska because she has the capability of 2-tapping her fairly easily, assuming that Iska can roll out her super senses. So what Brian said, though, great attack, great damage. What he didn't say was great speed, 12 speed. We could also perplex that up. You carry a Peeper around. This girl's flying halfway through the map, and she's going to punch you for 8 damage. Or Quake twice. Whatever she wants. That's how good she is. The speed power is really, really good. The second part of it, we talked about how Outwit hasn't been seen all that much in this set, so it's probably not going to come into play. However, it could come in handy. If you do go against that Apocalypse and War guy and whatever, now you don't have to worry about it as much. But unfortunately, with the set in Sealed, it's not going to get the love. Brian gave it a 1 in Constructed. I think that speed power is good enough to at least see sideline play for swap tech. I would probably say 1, 1.5, maybe 2. I'm not exactly sure because anytime you could give characters Outwit immunity in Constructed, it's going to be a good time. and all she needs to do is just hit first. And given her speed and how much utility there is with TK and placement, it shouldn't be that difficult to do so. And then you have to deal with her invincible and her impervious without being able to outwit it after she just punched someone in the face real hard. That's not easy to do, even in constructed. So I'm not going to give her a 3, but I do think she can see some sideline consideration, even though she is a prime. I would say at least a 1.5 in constructed, maybe a low 2. But in sealed, give her 3 stars all the way. Give her triple espresso.
Yeah, I think I agree with both of you on that. She's great in sealed. Maybe not so, not the best option for constructed, but there is a possibility. But for sealed, she's a definite 3. Triple espresso. So let's take a look at the next figure, which is Kate Pryde. Kate Pryde is a rare unique, set number 38. She's 50 points. She has the X-Men team ability, 0 range with a single target, 10 speed with charge and the dolphin symbol, 11 attack with a special, 19 defense with super senses, 3 damage with leadership. She has Excalibur, Hellfire Club, Marauders, Pirate, Quiet Council, and X-Men keywords. She has a trait, the Marauders will get you home. Friendly characters with the Marauders keyword have free if this effect has not been used this turn, and if this character occupies an opposing player's starting area, generate a stranded mutant bystander. She also has another trait, phasing teleport and flying. And then her attack power is, I really like that sword, Blades, Claws, Fangs, when she uses it and hits an equipped opposing character after resolutions that character unequips their equipment. The stranded mutants say something special on them. They are 8 speed, 9 attack with autonomous, 16 defense with the special, and 2 damage with shape change. And they have a trait, get to safety. Stranded mutant bystanders can only be generated by Kate Pryde's The Marauders will get you home trait. Free if stranded mutant occupies your starting area, remove it from the game and gain 4 mission points. So I guess the idea is you want to go to your opponent's starting area, generate the stranded mutant, and then carry them back to your starting area, and then remove them from the game to gain mission points. And then the defense power for the stranded mutants are Mastermind, but may choose friendly characters with the Marauders keyword regardless of point value. So they can mastermind onto your other Marauders, including Kate Pryde. Kenny, what do you think about Kate Pryde here?
So I like her. I like her a lot. Not for the mission point stuff, even though I'm a huge fan of mission point stuff. She's a 19 defense with super senses. She is leadership. What I really like about her is because there's going to be a lot of equipment in this set, and she has something that can hose it. So that's worth consideration. I would probably say she is a 2.5 star sealed play. And what I also like, again, not for the mission points when it comes to sealed, if you do get across the map, which isn't too hard for her, you make those stranded mutants. They don't have the most amazing stats, but they have autonomous. And anytime you get extra attacks to make, 9 attack, 2 damage, and we've seen a lot of characters with only toughness or no defense reducers at all, why wouldn't you take that? Why wouldn't you take a swing with them? So that's worth considering if you pull Kate Pryde. You're definitely going to have to, she's one of those characters that you have to finesse and really utilize to maximize her, unlike some of the other characters we've seen. But if you pull her, it's possible for her to be a rare that can help you get some W's, maybe even the sealed win for that night. Constructed, because of the mission points, I see that there's opportunity to do it. Will people do it? I don't know. I'm going to give her a 2. She does work with any Marauder. So it's just not her. Anyone can be able to generate them. And then if you can build your team around with extra speed and such and get those Marauders home, it's possible that you can pull it off. It's possible you can break theme and combo her with another mission point character. I'm going to be calm though. I'll say that she's 2.5 in sealed, 2 in constructed. But you have to be very creative with her either way you play her.
Yeah, I think... so Brian, go ahead.
I like her a little more than Sealed than Kenny does. I think I'd give her an easy 3 shots. She's basically an auto run for me.
Okay.
That 19 senses is phenomenal in Sealed. Like Ken was saying, the Stranded Mutants being autonomous, I don't think I'd ever try to get the mission point win with her, but if I can start cranking out just body blockers to fill the board up, tie my opponents down, and give out no points for all the trouble they're giving my opponents, yes. Every turn, make a mutant, walk 8 squares out, and just keep walking them right into danger. Gum everything up. The Blade's Claw's Fang, Kenny touched on, is great. Unequipping is great. She's cheap, she's mobile, she's hard to hit, and she can dish out damage and generate body blockers as a free. There's nothing to not like about her in Sealed. Constructed, probably a 2-shot for me. I really want to see the mission point thing start taking off. I don't know if she's the one who's going to be doing it, but the fact that she can give out 4 mission points at a time definitely does perk my ears up a little bit.
Yeah, I think she's 2s all around. She's cheap for her points, 50 for charge blades and leadership and the high defense. And then she also has phasing teleport and flying, so she can carry people around. And she's can carry quite a distance, and she's also got the dolphin symbol, so she can remain protected. She's got a lot going for her, for sure. Let's see who's next. Pyro, set number 39, is 50 points. He's the next rare in the set. Brotherhood of Mutants team ability. 6 range with 2 targets, 8 speed with running shot, 11 attack with energy explosion, 17 defense with energy shield deflection, and 3 damage with range combat expert. And a trait, any way you want it, love. When Pyro clears action tokens, you may generate a flame construct within range and line of fire, max 3. His flame constructs say... they're 6 speed, 10 attack with poison, 16 defense with super senses, and 1 damage with exploit weakness. And they are autonomous. So he can, when he clears, he can generate those within range and line of fire. Kenny, what's your thought on Pyro?
I like Pyro. But trait's a little awkward. You generate when you clear action tokens. I know a lot of people would prefer it was just a free or something a little bit more straightforward. But getting a autonomous bystander with poison, exploit, super senses, nothing to sneeze at. The body block, it could be a body blocker, it could be a tie-up. There's a lot of things you can do with it. Pyro, on the other hand, though, he just has combat values, and they're good. It reminds me of the Cyclops we saw at 50 points that we were talking about him just having running shot range combat expert. Here we go. We have running shot range combat expert with ESD and energy explosion. So for that rare slot, he brings what you would want, except for longevity, except for survivability. But again, for 50 points, the character, we know him, risk reward. The flame construct kind of helps with survivability a little bit, but not all that much. If you pull him, I think he's worth playing. He's pretty straightforward. I would probably, I would say 2.5. I would like to say 3, but I can just see him going down so fast. And for constructed, I don't really see it, to be honest with you. I think he's a lot of fun if you want to stack a lot of those flame constructs, because he's not a unique character, but he's probably a 1, maybe an herbal tea and constructed.
Yeah. 2 shots for sealed, herbal tea constructed. The Kenny touched on it, but the fact that flame shot construct comes out within range and line of fire does let you put your opponent in some really nasty positions where they have to answer that 0-point bystander right now, or they're going to start getting poisoned. Yeah, anything that can make your opponent waste actions is a solid okie dokie in my book. But yeah, I don't think he's going to be seeing constructed play.
Yeah, I think I would give him a 2 in sealed and 0 herbal tea and constructed. Let's look at Emma Frost. Emma Frost is 75 points. She is set number 40. Brotherhood of Mutants and X-Men team abilities. 6 range with 2 targets. 8 speed with Mind Control. 11 attack with Penetrating Psychic Blast. 18 defense with a special. 3 damage with a special. She has a improved targeting, hindering, and characters. She does have the X-Men, Hellions, and Hellfire Club keywords. She has a trait, Diamond Form, free. Replace Emma Frost with set number 100 Emma Frost on the same click number. That's the I guess the OP prize.
Release day, yeah.
Release date.
Never going to be seen in sealed.
She will not be seen in sealed, but if you do get your hands on the release day OP kit figure Emma Frost, you can do that and like kind of replace her with that on the same click number. She's got a defense power, special defense power so utterly predictable, super senses, but succeeds on a 4 through 6 protected outwit. That's through her entire dial. And then her damage power is leadership. When Emma Frost uses it and succeeds, you may instead generate a bystander on this card. Each bystander on this card has max 1. And her bystanders are all the Cuckoo Sisters. Celeste, who's got Prob. Esme, who's got Perplex. Irma, who's got Outwit. Phoebe, who's got Penetrating Psychic Blast and 2 damage. And Sophie, who's got Mind Control.
And they're all 8, 10, 17, 2 with 6 range, 1 target.
Yeah. So, Brian, what do you think about Emma Frost?
She's an interesting figure. I'd probably give her 2 shots. The Psy Blast, the 3 damage is nice. 6 range double target, fantastic. Mind Control double target, also great. But she has no way to move around the map, so she really needs to have some supporting characters to either carry her around or TK her. Otherwise, she's going to be sitting around not doing terribly much. That said, she is very good at what she does. The 50-50 senses is great. Pumping out those bystanders, probably going to happen once or twice a game, but still gives you support powers. Really good. For constructed, though, I feel like she's another, maybe 1 shot to herbal tea range. Half shot, maybe? Yeah. I don't think she's going to see much constructed play, unfortunately.
Kenny?
I agree. I do like her. I do like her kit, but in constructed, I don't think it's enough. I don't think it's herbal tea territory, but maybe it's 1. But for sealed, I think she's closer to 2.5. She might be a 3. Brian said you might pump out 1 or 2 bystanders. Obviously, Brian does not roll leadership very well. Me, on the other hand, I roll leadership very well, so I'll probably see maybe 3 or 4 of these bad girls. But I do agree with Brian's point. She doesn't have the mobility. We've only seen very, very few characters with telekinesis. So in this particular sealed meta of X of Swords, it's going to be very difficult to get her into position. What she does have going for her, though, is that she has improved targeting characters. And I think she's the first character to do that. So if we're looking at swarms or people hiding behind someone else, she can go right through them, side blast them, mind control them, whatever the heck she wants to do. And I think that's a very useful thing she has going on there for her. So if you pull her with a TK character, I think you're set. If you don't, she can still hold her weight, but you got to be a little bit patient and learn how to set up properly and keeping yourself safe. 4 through 6 super senses is fantastic, but it's not a reducer. You miss it, she's taking all the damage. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to say 2.5 in sealed, probably a 1 in constructed.
Yeah, I think 1 in constructed, and for me, she's a little less than a 2.5 in sealed just because of her lack of mobility. So I would put her at like a 2 in sealed. All right, so let's take a look at the next figure of the rares, which is Magneto. Rare Magneto in the black suit. He's set number 40.
Speaking of improved targeting.
Speaking of improved targeting characters. Yeah, this guy's got it also. Set number 41. 65 points. X-Men team ability. 6 range with 2 targets. Flyer. He's a flyer. 10 speed with special. 11 attack with Pensai. 18 defense with special defense power. And 3 damage with enhancement. He has the Acolytes, Brotherhood of Mutants, Hellfire Club, Politician, Quiet Council, Ruler, Sword, and X-Men keywords. He has improved targeting characters. He has a trait and prepared for invasion. Opposing characters within range and line of fire using impervious, shape change, or super senses decrease their result for those powers by -1. 6 is always a success. And then a speed power that he has is called Magnetic Repulsion. Running shot, when Magneto uses it after resolutions, he may use Force Blast as free, which is really good. And then a defense power that he has is Magnetic Defenses, Energy Shield Deflection, Invulnerability, and this character has Safeguard Mind Control. Brian, what are your thoughts on Magneto here?
Easy 3 for sealed. He's got the brain fart. He's got the speed and the range. You can get in there. 11 attack, 3 damage. Side blast is nice. You can crack defenses wide open. The real thing, though, that prepared for invasion is a killer. You've seen plenty of super senses, shape change floating around. There's been a sprinkling of impervious, and all of those rollouts just go right down the tubes the moment he's on the map. The magnetic defenses are pretty cool too. Not seen a ton of mind control, but I won't ever turn down the safeguard. He is a very potent attacker with some good defenses to keep himself on the map. Outside of sealeds, might give him a one-shot. The definitely something that I could see people running for a X-Men swap or Brotherhood swap, and for the off chance they're up against like a Spider-Man team that's swimming in super senses. But I don't think he's going to see terribly much play.
Kenny?
Yeah, no, I agree. Three triple espresso for sealed. You pull this guy, you play him. He has everything you would want. We were gushing over the uncommon Magneto, who was 100 or 30 points, who does a fraction of what does. Now, this one doesn't have the longevity the other one does, but for 65 points, you take what you get. He brings the value. The Safeguard Mind Control, probably not super useful in this set, except for Danny Moonstar or Mirage, whatever her name was in this set. There wasn't a whole lot of mind control. Force Blast is free. We loved it on Storm at the common, and he gets it here with his running shot. So, it's all these little bits and pieces that we already seen into one character with the good combat values at a decent price. Great keywords. Triple espresso all the way, sealed, constructed. If he had a second line that was like 40 points, maybe I can justify a double espresso, but it's funny. 65, great for sealed. 65, not so great for constructed. Probably just going to be a single shot when it comes to constructed.
Yep, I agree with both of you. I think he's a 3 in sealed and a 1 in constructed. Definitely a solid figure in sealed, though a really good pull. Let's take a look at the next figure, which is Cora of the Burning Heart. Cora of the Burning Heart is set number 42. She is 65 points. She has 4 range with single target, 10 speed with a special power, 11 attack, 17 defense with invulnerable, 3 damage with another special power. She has improved movement characters. She has a trait: if Cora of the Burning Heart is on an Araco or Sword theme team, modify her attack and defense +1. And then, so hopefully you're able to get that. And then she's got a speed power, charge and flurry. And that's her special speed power, and her special damage power is enhancement and exploit weakness. Kenny, what are your thoughts on Cora?
I like her. Charge Flurry, 65 points. We just talked about how that's a pretty decent point value, and you have to bring your weight here. She's bringing exploit weakness and the potential of 2 attacks with a healthy speed value of 10. What I don't like about her is those 17s. And granted, not a lot of outwit, but invulnerability, while nice, not the safest either. We have seen quite a bit of penetrating damage through a lot of characters in this set. So I'm going to give her a 2. I'm going to give her a double espresso. If you pull her, she does bring the offense. If you have a TK, she could definitely do something before she goes down or gets targeted or whatever. But she's definitely not a 3. She does need a little help. That being said, we're moving on to Constructed. She's probably not going to see a whole lot of play. She has an interesting trait with Orca and Sword theme teams. I don't think you're going to see a whole bunch of Orca. You might see a bunch of Sword. So getting the attack +1 defense, attack and defense would help her survivability. I think she needs to defend anyway, and then you add +1 to that. She's probably 1.5, maybe a 1 in Constructed as well. You got to be very creative, and I just don't see it. But that's where I see her. Improved movement character, so very useful, always useful. Doesn't have to worry about Mystique in Sealed, but that's about it.
Yeah, the improved movement characters is the highlight for me. The charge, flurry, exploit weakness is, that's great. But the fact that you can just blitz right past your opponent's back line into their, soft and unprotected support characters and just rip them apart. I think you kind of have to do that if she's going to get her points up before she drops with only that 17 defense. She needs a little bit of support. She needs a little bit of love, some TK, some carrying around, some ways to get where she goes before you can just blitz her in and do the damage she needs to deal. But if you have the support figures for her, she can definitely earn her keep. I'm going to give her 2 shots as well. And for Sealed and Constructed is, probably 1 shot for the same reasons Kenny went over.
Okay, yeah, I think for Sealed, definitely, I would say 2 for her, and for Constructed, 1, just like the both of you said. So, and mainly because of those low defenses. So, all right, let's take a look at. We have 2 more rares in the set. The next one we're gonna look at is Darwin. Darwin is set number 43. He's 40 points. He's a rare unique. He's got the X-Men team ability, 4 range with a single target, 8 speed with plasticity, 10 attack, 17 defense with toughness, 2 damage, X Factor and X-Men keywords. His trait is Hyper Evolution. Darwin has Safeguard Outwit. Once per turn, when Darwin is targeted by an attack, you may choose a color of a standard power displayed on the attacker's dial. If you do, Darwin can use all standard powers of the chosen color until your next turn. Protected Pulse Wave. Kenny, what do you think about Darwin here?
I think Darwin doesn't like Prime Vision all that much because he'll never be able to pick something there. However, he's interesting. It's an interesting take. Out of my rare, I'm not sure he brings all the value I would want, but he does tie up, so he can't force those attacks onto him. So it's going to be hard to ignore him. And it all comes down to your knowledge of HeroClix, whatever level player you are. So you want to base a character that's a threat, that has a color set that you would want to have, and hopefully force them to attack you, and that is going to be the best way to use him. Will that get you wins? No. Will that make you an annoying person to deal with? Absolutely. And sometimes that's all you need. So he's kind of like in that sync category. It's really hard to give him a rating. It really depends. Even less than sync, you got to depend on what your opponent's doing. Sync, it was friendly. So I'll just go right down the middle. I'll say he's a 1.5, but he definitely could be a 3 if your opponent has to attack him and you're making all the right calls and the right colors selections. In Constructed, I will say this Darwin, I think, plays a lot better than some of the other Darwins we've seen in Constructed. That being said, he's still probably not going to see super competitive play. So I'll probably just give him a 1 at most. I don't think he's Herbal Tea for Constructed. He's not that bad, but I just don't see it.
Brian?
Yeah. One shot across the board. The Kenny brought up Sync. That's a good thing for me. I gave Sync a two shots because it's easier to manage powers when you're referencing your own figures. It's less when you're dealing with what your opponent's bringing.
Yeah.
If you play him right, you line things up correctly, you can definitely get your money's worth out of Darwin. But I think he's a pretty easy pass when you're building your team out. But hey, if you got the spare 40 points, you tie up. He's not worthless.
Yeah, I think he's a 1 all around too. I mean, if I'm pulling him and he's my rare slot, I'm probably not pulling something else that's would be a better attacker or something like that. So yeah. I mean, he's a tie-up piece, but I don't think he's much more than that. All right, so the last rare in the set is Absalon Mercator. He is set number 44. He's 40 points with 0 range, single target. 8 speed with stealth, 11 attack, 18 defense with impervious, 2 damage with a special. He also has a stop click. So his defense power stop click is stop regeneration. At the beginning of your turn, you may choose an opposing character and roll a d6. On a 5 through 6, deal that character 2 penetrating damage. That's just choose an opposing character. That's just like anywhere. Just like deal them 2 damage. And then the damage power is that he has on his first click is exploit weakness and support. So this is an interesting figure. Brian, what do you think about Absalom Mercator?
Oh, I like him. I don't know if I love him. I think he's very ignorable for the opponent. He doesn't have the move and attack. He does have the 2 penetrating damage with exploit. But I think he's a pretty easy character for your opponent to work around. That said, if you can keep him to the back and use him as support, and then late game, maybe he can sneak you out a win when your opponent finally has to actually, handle him. But I'd maybe give him a 1.5 shot for sealed. For constructed, I don't think he really does much for anyone. I would give him a herbal tea.
Yeah, and Kenny?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to say he's mastermind fodder, but how much mastermind have we seen so far? I don't think we've seen any. So unless he pulls super rares and chases that actually have it, which we'll get there at some point, even then, we're talking about pulls that are not going to be very common to see. So we're already looking down the hole here that I agree with Ryan. He's probably, support ain't bad. Having a stop click is never bad. Do you want that from your rare 40 points, only doing 2 damage or so? Without moving attack? Probably not. I'm going to give him 1.5 in sealed. For constructed, he's probably herbal tea. I like what he does. I would love to experiment and have some funsies with that defense power. When I want to play and have a good time and whatever. But if we're talking serious play, not going to happen.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with both of you.
Yeah.
So that was the last of the rares for X-Men for Marvel HeroClix X-Men X of Swords, and this ends part 1 of our set review. So stay tuned for our next episode where we review the super rares and chases. As always, don't forget to subscribe and give a like to this video if you enjoy this content. I really appreciate it. We were fortunate to be joined by Brian Galley and Kenny Pena. Don't forget, everybody, wake up and smell the Clix.